Thomasson here. You can call me Mike. Call me Michael J if you want. Some of my friends call me Michael, which is weird.
Do they call you this is Ray or Jay?
Oh, come on now. Is that for the kids?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
For the youngsters out there.
Yeah.
That's like from before I was born. This is 372 pages we'll never get back. And the other person talking is?
The ancient, belying his own real age, Connor Listoka.
You're an old soul, Connor. You're an old soul. This is the podcast where we talk about bad books. We've done, how many did you say?
This is book 19.
I was going to say 20 and 19. Yeah, okay. And we discuss them. It's not bad books, though. I keep making that error. One or the other of us does every time. Books we do not expect to like.
Yeah, books. We that was our initial sort of laid out the ethos of the podcast, and we quickly realized that it was unfair, and people started throwing around the term hate reading, which I was not a fan of. So we don't expect to like these, but more often than not, we're surprised.
And there's plenty to like, even if you are reading a bad book, I think. So that's, boy, oh boy, in the case of this one, from the Ellises, we've started to call them I always forget their names.
Larry and Denise.
Larry and Denise. Sorry, I got to get that in.
They're both, sort of names you would assign to comic characters if you were making a book about a husband and wife team writing a joint teenage fantasy novel together. You'd probably name them Larry and Denise without even knowing about these two.
Sure. Well, there's a lot of names in this book that one scratches one's head over as well. But I'm holding the book in my hand. This is part 1 of Antigua, the land of fairies, wizards, and heroes. No punctuation in that. Well, there's a giant colon after Antigua.
Well, they saved the punctuation for the book.
That's true. And on the cover of this book that I'm holding is the dragon Vorultrar.
Well, he's not blue, so...
In my hardcover, he is blue.
Oh, wow. Really? I haven't seen the hardcover. I haven't really seen what it looks like. Let's get that.
Oh, you have the soft cover, right?
Yeah.
Oh, and the Vorultrar is not blue?
Well, there's a dragon on the cover of the soft cover, but he is red. He's your traditional sort of smoggy kind of dragon.
Wait. I mean, how dare we discuss pictures on a podcast? But
sure.
Is the claw in the lower right corner, and then the face is on the left coming out of the spine of the book?
1 second. I have to take out my headphones to get it.
Okay. All right. I'll vamp till that time. I'll sing a song to
you know what? I'm
impossible dream. Yes.
I Mandela affected my own book here. Berenstein buried it. It's yes. The dragon is blue. In my mind, he was red. I mean, it's purplish, but yes, he's given the sort of claw high five, and he's okay. Unmistakably blue. The background is sort of red. It's like a sunset.
Yes, it's very red. Him, so. Okay, so you Bader Meinhofed yourself.
Great, amazing.
Okay.
Wow. All right.
Anyway, this book is a work of fantasy, as you might imagine. And let's see. The story so far is that a dragon and an evil sorceress are going to invade the land of Antigua, which consists of 4 kingdoms, I guess. Mm-hmm. And she's preparing to invade this evil sorceress with her dragon Vorultrar, previously mentioned, who is decidedly blue and has never been red. And so in order to prepare, the kingdom is throwing a fair, and sort of waiting around for a prophecy of a girl who's going to come from Britain.
Sort of waiting around is an odd way to put it, because there's a lot of waiting around going on so far. But yes, there's a prophecy that a girl's going to come from across the waters. I don't remember if they know what's across the waters. And we're unclear about it too, because she's either coming from Britain, Wales, London. Take your pick of those.
Well, all right. I'll get this out of the way right away because it's right at the front. Mm-hmm. She's from Wales?
She's from Wales. Yeah, that is. I mean, so, yes.
So this whole time she's been speaking with a Welsh accent?
Uh-huh. Yep.
She's been throwing in that Welsh dialect every now and then?
Yep. When she met Charlie E. the Octopus, she was, I mean, I'm not even going to attempt what in my head, a Welsh accent sounds like. But yep, she's been, she always encountered town signs that had, 55 characters in them to name a town.
She's been eating creamy leek soup the whole time.
Mm-hmm. She takes offense to Welsh rarebit.
She takes offense to the character. Who is it in Henry V? The Welsh character who they lampoon the Welsh in that. Taffy was a Welshman.
Taffy was a Welshman. Yes, it's a song that her headmistress of their orphanage rocked them to sleep every night, singing "Taffy was a Welshman."
And she never mentioned that before.
I just thank you for not calling me out on absolutely having no idea what you were talking about with the Shakespeare play, but leaping into action with Taffy was a Welshman.
Well, yes, I thought I'd throw you a lifeline there. All right, well, anyway.
It's a surprise. What does a Welsh accent sound like? I mean,
oh my God,
worse
I
than
would never in 100 years. I mean, I've read. Here's another one you're going to love. I used to read a lot of Kingsley Amis books.
Sure.
And he liked to lampoon the Welsh, and so he would have Welsh characters. So I'd have to read it going, okay, he's speaking in a Welsh accent here, and I have to just pretend I know what that is.
Conveyed in print.
Yeah,
Great.
Right, yes. All right, well, should we get into it? Oh, by the way, I'm sure we have all the departments.
Oh, yeah, we have some devious fanfic today. We've got obviously some dumb sentences, and we've got some very impressive emails, so we've got to make sure we get to those because, we issue a lot of fan art challenges on here, and most of the time no one takes us up on them, but people stepped up this time. We got a ton of them.
Of fan art?
Yeah, we got maps of Antigua. We've got
thank God.
We've got a very special one that I can't wait to send to you. So,
all right.
We've got a depiction of a wizard riding on a magic wand in the land of Antigua.
Okay, good.
And the wizard comes from another intellectual property which has been discussed during our Antigua episode. So we'll tease that. We'll get to it.
All right. Well, we start at what would be in the book, although the book is non-canonical, so please don't. Chapter 10, I think.
Chapter 10, yep.
Yeah, the mermaids Philiandra and Shrauna.
Yeah. So keep in mind, this is we'll have 2 more episodes after this. So this is well past the halfway point of this book that this happens, and this is the second appearance of Rebecca and the mermaids, who were introduced in the first chapter and have not been seen since then.
But right out of the gate, we get that beautiful Ellis touch. Shrauna twisted her long hair to wring some water out of it. Philiandra flipped her long hair back and forth to get some water out of it.
It's 2 competing schools of hair drying.
Larry, get over here and write a sentence. Okay. What did you write? Shauna Twister. Well, Philiandra twists her hair, gets some water out of it.
Oh, God damn it, Larry. This is... it's like a 3-year-old, copying their 5-year-old brother or something like that.
Right. Go ahead, write another sentence. I'll write another one for you. It's not that hard.
You changed a name and the method of hair drying, Larry.
You both have to dry their hair. What is the problem?
But that's not how books work. You don't have to describe the same thing.
We're doing something new here. We're doing a new book.
Larry.
New things I'm going to the pool.
Yeah, I bet you are.
Larry and Denise, ladies.
And then this is sort of where we get the reveal of where she has come from, because we've been very unclear about this. Shrandria says, "Well, we are here, human girl from Britain. Welcome to the land of Antigua." Rebecca looked around at the land of Antigua. She was amazed at how absolutely beautiful the land of Antigua was. It looked like a tropical oasis. And it looked like a tropical oasis because there was beautiful exotic plants, trees, vegetables, and flowers growing everywhere. So, I mean, it's a tropical oasis. It doesn't look like one. It's you don't emerge onto the beaches of Maui and say it looks like a tropical. Well, it is one.
But were you a little bit surprised that Antigua was a tropical oasis?
I was, actually, now that you mentioned it.
I was thinking, blasted heaths, and plains and rings of trees and copses. I was thinking of,
the Lord of the Rings, Ireland type of thing.
Yes. Well, anyway, it is a tropical oasis.
I guess if you're thinking about the real Antigua, that might be what you were thinking. But
yeah, that could be. Yes.
And Rebecca says this place has to be the most beautiful place I've ever seen. It is actually more beautiful than all of Wales. So that's the big reveal there is that, clearly she said that in a It is actually more beautiful than all of Wales.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that didn't come out well.
Oh boy. So, well, here's my question though about geography then. So did she jump into, I was thinking of her, jumping into the channel. Mm-hmm. But apparently she's jumping into
one of the North
port
Sea
at
or something.
Cardiff. She's jumping into the port at Cardiff, I guess.
I for what I thought it was the Thames or something for going into because that's where she was trying to get to London, right?
Oh, right. She jumped into the Thames.
I thought it said a river
from Cardiff, from Wales.
Yeah. If we weren't going to know what consisted of Great Britain and what consisted of the UK, we're not going to know specific Welsh rivers. So.
I don't know. I have been to Cardiff once. It was a great time. I will say the wind was blowing at literally 70 miles an hour and did not stop.
Look at Dan Brown here. Specific location weather grudges.
Well, actually, I went on to Facts King. I've never been there. It's windy in Wales.
But so Welsh Rebecca says, look at how green the grass is here. Look at all the beautiful trees and flowers. I could live here forever. And it just reminds me that the clock is ticking on her brother Billy, who she has promised to return and bring with her to London.
And he's wondering, wow, I thought that I lived in Wales. All of a sudden, I'm kicking around some orphanage house in London. What happened to me?
So that's exciting. I just, we love these moments where the ball is in the air and we're waiting to see if it comes down as a swish, half court shot, or just an air ball. And we know what I'm hoping for.
I think we would have to do a special episode where we just shared our joy over the fact that we never returned to her brother. Try to come up with other examples of books that just leave characters stranded.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then I like this one. The mermaids are telling her they can't go with her. We live in the water. We'd shrivel up and die on this tropical oasis. But I like that they sort of lapsed into some old-timey talk. They told her to go and meet our kings. Rebecca, everything is going to be all right. Be of courage. So I looked it up, and I guess that's like biblical talk there.
Yeah.
So it's exciting that the mermaids of the waters, of the good side of the waters of Antigua, talk like that.
It was pretty nice that she said, "All right, well, let's get going. Show me where to go. I'll hook up with this king and queen and everything." They're like,
yeah,
excuse, like doing the gesture to their fish half, going, "Oh yeah, we'll just be flopping behind you in the dust for."
Yeah, we'll be taking in air oxygen through our gills because that's how that works. They said sarcastically.
Yes.
But Rebecca, to her credit, would say, you were the first characters introduced in this book, and there's been a hang time of 9 more chapters. You're really going to not come on land after you're going to just disappear for the rest of the narrative here? Like, who's writing this garbage?
Yeah, you had no spell or anything? Come on, man.
And then we quickly get to there's a few, I feel like, Wizard of Oz parallels in this.
This is where it fully goes Wizard of Oz for a while.
But she walks into the westernmost province and reaches up to pick an orange. As Rebecca reached up to pick an orange from a tree, it talked to her. Which, just there's a lot of here we go moments here, and that is one of them. That's obviously one of the dumbest sentences in all of recorded literature, but
there's a few that are made even dumber by their lack of punctuation, which I don't mind putting down now, because it used to be like, don't pick on typos and stuff like that. But this is actually woven into the fabric of the book, so I think it's fair.
Yeah, let's do it. But she says, this can't be real. I must be losing my mind. Maybe I'm hallucinating or something. Trees don't talk. But then again, I am in the land of Antigua, and a mermaid did save my life. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. I guess anything is possible here. And then Rebecca said to the talking tree, I'm sorry, tree.
Yes. The tree talks to her and says, and she says, no, tree, I'm not from the east or the south. I guess those are the only 2 directions you could be from.
Sure, yes.
I'm from the other side of the waters of Antigua, a.k.a., I guess, the River Thames, or possibly the port of Cardiff. I'm from Britain. And then the tree does the, silent shrugging the shoulders and doing the
Yeah.
Could you be a little more specific than that?
If you're going to eat my oranges, I'd like to have more specificity about where you came from. Maybe it's like, when people ask where I live, I tell them, near DC. And then if they, but sometimes maybe I'll say, I'm from Northern Virginia.
It's true. It's true. That is all dependent. You are from many places at once, but it is, I don't know why she decided on that particular thing after she made such a big hullabaloo about being from Wales. So, but next, what happens? I ask you to imagine this: you are escorted. Somehow, you breathe underwater. You're escorted to a new land, a tropical and beautiful place. I must say,
an oasis,
and then you get into a little contretemps with a talking orange tree.
Sure,
and then suddenly, a bunch of monkeys came down out of the tree, making all kinds of noises while handing you oranges. What would your reaction be to this?
I would say, here we go, as I wrote in all caps as the monkeys start descending.
My God.
Because as the monkeys have been teased for quite a while now. They were strong appearances in real or fanfic. We all doubted that there would be talking monkeys, and we've awaited their arrival for a long time, so it's very exciting to finally get to encounter them. All kinds of noises, though. So
all kinds of noises.
Like moo!
Welsh accents, poorly done.
Yep. Are they doing Charlie Callis? Like...
Yes. Yeah, that's what I imagine. All kinds of them.
I like that the tree did, though. She wanted his oranges. It was an orange tree. And finally, he said, at the end, he did say, take some of my fruit and nourish yourself. And so I was hoping he was going to wait for her to really dig into one and be like, yeah, you know what that was? You know what part of me that was, huh? Yeah.
He's nodding.
I'm into it.
I'm
German.
Oh, yes. I used to have that guy's name on the tip of my tongue.
Fish?
What?
That's a different cannibal? That's a different
No, different. Yeah, no, he's a different guy. Sorry. Albert Fish.
Yes.
Yeah, no.
Great guy. But we quickly, unfortunately, move away from the monkeys as they are making all kinds of noises. And it zips us back using the seamless literary transition of just saying, meanwhile, back at the castle, which is a favorite of this author. I haven't noticed it so far, but it's very prominent in these chapters.
Is it for you in the middle of a sentence, or there's no paragraph break?
Yes,
yeah, that's delightful.
It's amazing. Just like a full, just coming up behind you with a blackjack and walloping you overhead with the scene transition.
But this is characters of Antigua assemble. Mm-hmm. This is we're just going to be given a list of everyone that has been, which is, I have to admit, it's helpful, because she used to just skip around to the kingdoms, and I go, wait, which princess goes with who?
Yeah.
And where? And so this time, apparently they have a board with strings on it above their writing desk, and they were able to finally put all the characters together.
It is. It's like the final scene of the, climactic Marvel movie where you've had a decade of these people and they finally appear on screen together, and you think that's the greatest thing in the world. Craig, by the way, has a spreadsheet. He's tracking the character count, and he says we're at 184 characters.
Oh my God.
And he's tracked their alignments and where they're from and stuff like that. It's a very impressive piece of work.
Wow.
Yeah.
So he would know then. I was hoping that during this calling all characters thing, if we had a spreadsheet like that, we could tell if someone was just left out just by,
right.
Like, I see Knight Sir Barrington is here, but it would have been great if he was just not there.
Yeah, if there's an empty seat at the table where he once would have sat.
So they all assemble, and then the king calls for entertainment. Mm-hmm. Oh, before that, though, the king, I'll just give you an example of the humor of the book.
Oh, please.
Here in the land of wizards, fairies, and heroes. King Thomasson said, even the lion Thorn here knows the enjoyment of good food. Everybody laughed.
And that's because he took a rather large bone and gave it to the lion Thorn to chew on. The lion Thorn was starving and at that point willing to eat anything. So when the starving pet lion starts chewing on this bone, that's when he said he knows the enjoyment of good food. And everyone laughs at this beast who's, I mean, you're not really getting a ton of nourishment from the bone if you're starving.
Yeah, here's a pig's ear, Thorn. Right. Go chew on that for a while.
I also
Thorn,
wanted to
was he mentioned before?
Yeah. Thorn was he's that king's pet. He just has a lion walking around.
Okay, just
as
has
we
a lion.
see later,
Gotcha.
there are wild lions in here, so he's been kept captive. I think he was right. That was the one that Janelle wrote in all the various facts about lions, where this was the one thing they sort of got right in this book.
Okay, that's right.
I just wanted to call attention to this. It was just a great stretch of writing. The introduction of the queens and princesses at this banquet. Queen Eleonoradora wore a beautiful pink gown and a diamond and ruby crown on her head. Princess Trina had a tiara made out of diamonds on her head. She wore a beautiful gown made of white silk. She looked beautiful. So we're getting three beautifuls in the 4 sentences there. It's great stuff.
And I wondered, too, are we supposed to make anything of the fact that she had a diamond and ruby crown on her head? Mm-hmm. Trina had one made of diamonds.
Made of just diamonds, yeah.
So who wins? Mine is all diamonds. Oh, you have those crappy little rubies on yours? Neat.
Yeah, I guess it's if they are, if the diamonds are at the expense of rubies or if they're just adorned on top of them. And then Princess Trina smiled when she saw her close friends, Princess Alexandra and Princess Sasha. So how do you think that relationship stacks up to, was it Princess Sasha who had the close friend of the wizard Vlandorf?
Oh,
or were they just good friends? I forget.
They were good friends.
And the entertainment that happens here is, I think we might have covered this in a real or fanfic.
Yeah, we did.
Royal musicians with violins, flutes, bongos, drums, guitars, and harps.
Yes. Yep. Someone did some beat poetry. Everyone snapped their fingers. He played the bongos. Yes.
But also we got 10 beautiful belly dancers came out and performed for the royals. They all had on beautiful costumes. They had veils covering their noses and mouths, but you could still see their beautiful eyes as they danced.
So a full-throated endorsement of burkas just from the Ellises, I guess.
But beautiful eyes being betrayed by the outfits.
Well, so I'm already thinking, when you're thinking belly dancers, you're thinking, okay, so this is some sort of Arabian, if you will.
Sure.
Maybe that's an old term. After the belly dancers and Princess Trina finished their dance, 8 men dressed in Arabian costumes. So Arabia exists in this, and it must be somewhat neighboring, I guess?
Yeah, Antigua's aware of it. They have influenced by it. They've had either people venture to there or people from Arabia venturing to Antigua to trade and share their customs.
Yeah, and we get the sense that this is not like, Rome during the height of the Roman Empire, where suddenly you're seeing tigers and stuff. You're like, wow, this kingdom really does stretch far. We get the sense this is a pretty closed-off kingdom.
Yeah, it's maybe it's just like, I don't know. It doesn't seem like it's authentic if they're just saying Arabian costumes,
Costumes,
that's like saying, oh yeah, they're Asian type of thing. Like, well, what do you mean here?
Yeah, yes.
But it's I guess Antigua could be culturally appropriating this stuff here too. Maybe they just saw a movie or something and decided that was it's like their Coachella costumes.
Right, because they also, they get the cobra in the basket while he plays the punji and all that. Snake, they call him a snake charmer. So
yes. So as this all is happening, they do have a snake charmer and fire eating and sword juggling and stuff. Sasha is talking to Trina. She says, "I can't do that with my sword." Princess Trina said, "That's right. You're a sword expert, aren't you?" Timothy was smitten and couldn't take his eyes off Alexandra. So like the princesses are all sort of like they haven't seen each other in a while, but they're good friends or they're catching up and everything. And Timothy is just sort of sitting there like staring at Alexandra, a very off-putting presence throughout the whole thing.
Oh, Timothy, he comes off no better than Jonathan in this section.
No, yeah.
But I'd like to just go back to, once again, there's a number of times missed opportunities in this book.
Okay.
And this is the book really giving short shrift to something that I'm astonished by. The performers brought in performing elephants. Great sentence there. who, when prompted to do so, were able to stand on their hind legs. That's a good performance, I guess.
Sure.
They brought in monkeys on bicycles and a performing lion. Wait. Stop.
Yeah.
I understand what a performing lion is. I've seen that many times.
Yeah, they're brought in by performers. It's
Yes. But you just skip over monkeys on bicycles? Why isn't this book called Antigua, the Land of Monkeys on Bicycles?
Yeah, it's I was willing to accept hologram dragons and stuff, but this requires a whole lot of backstory. Did they have their own, Wright Brothers bicycle shop here? Like the mechanics of this, were people welding, the royal welders welding these things?
I don't
Did a magician, magic these monkeys to be able to ride the greatest piece of technology in all Antigua?
It's stunning. I recall, and I think I brought it up with you before, is one of the times I laughed the hardest in my life is when David Letterman, whatever you think of him now, he used to be really funny. And when I was in college, everybody watched. You watched David Letterman.
Who doesn't think that he's still funny now?
I don't know. There's some people have soured on him. Friends of mine have soured on him. Anyway, in his prime, very, very funny. Written very funny. But he used to just have Zippy the chimp come out.
Yes.
And they would do the long shot of the studio because Zippy would just come out and just roller skate everywhere while smoking a cigar. And then they would do a tight on Dave and he would just deadpan Zippy the chimp, everyone. And I recall just roaring with laughter. So when I hear monkeys on bicycles, I'm like, yes,
yeah,
go on, please.
Right.
And then they just stop. That's it.
Yeah. If there was any justice, these would be a major part of the effort to go and depose the evil sorceress Gwendeviere in the north. But alas, I fear it might be the only moment we hear of them.
Oh, if they were led by a vanguard of monkeys on bicycles, screaming their war cries as they rode towards the evil sorceress.
Ringing the bells, yeah.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden they were just wiped out by a fireball. And then cut to adagio for strings as the monkeys lie bleeding.
Monkeys burning, yeah. But I don't know. Maybe no one even thinks it's odd that monkeys are watching them because they're just so in awe of this magical contraption that they've never seen before. It's like bringing back the first guy who had a music box created, and people would just sit around and look at this mechanical thing playing a music.
Yes,
but
there's some sort of flexible loop of metal which seems to be providing the power.
The monkey is like, "Hello, I am dressed as Little Lord Fauntleroy here. I'm licking a giant lollipop as I ride this bike. It seems like you're really not focusing on the attraction."
I have a bow around my hat. Do you see this?
Well, like you said, you said that you would laugh. Going back to Zippy the chimp, he would be the highlight. I mean, the A tier of performing monkeys, right? I'm getting.
I think he was probably a longtime, nearly retired circus performer, but yeah,
sure. But in terms of Zippy was going to be treated as well as a performing monkey would be.
Sure,
I'm getting sense that these are off-brand Latvian circus monkeys here that are riding the bicycles. They're the type of monkeys you would see Krusty the Clown having backstage, where he's whipping them, type of thing.
Throw some starburst to the Lithuanian monkeys, will you?
Yeah, they always end up jumping onto his face and clawing it, fleas are popping off of them. Yeah, they're very, very Mr. Teeny. But your reaction to Zippy is very much King Thomasson's reaction as the performing lion jumps through a fire-lit hoop. King Thomasson clapped as the lion performed. He had a special admiration and respect for lions. When the lion Thorn saw the other lion, he let out a loud roar. Everyone laughed out loud. So there's the bar for humor again. The starving lion sees another lion, potentially a mate he was separated from in the wild, who's now being enslaved and forced to jump through flaming hoops, and he cries out to her, and everyone laughs at him.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that loud roar, was it if it could be translated into English, it's like, Betty! Yeah. No!
Yeah, it's Meryl Streep's wail at the end of Sophie's Choice or something.
Meanwhile, Thorn is trying to scrape the last bit of sinew off the dry bone he was given while starving to death.
Yes, he's tried to break the marrow to share it with this other lion who he knows is also being mistreated. But who's not being mistreated is Timothy, because Princess Sasha and Princess Trina couldn't help but notice Timothy and how handsome he was.
All right. Mm-hmm. Timothy finally fleshing out, so to speak, the character of Timothy here. And she has nothing to do with him, right? Princess Alexandra. She's already put him in the friend zone, I believe.
Yeah, but I mean, when you said he's being fleshed out a bit, it says they also couldn't help but notice that he seemingly had a crush on Princess Alexandra. He wasn't good at hiding that fact. So what's going on here? Timothy is just he's awkwardly crossing and recrossing his legs or something. He wasn't even trying to hide his true feelings. He wanted everyone to know how he felt about Princess Alexandra. So he just let it all flop out there, I guess, at the banquet.
I thought it would be more like, Timothy, stand up and give a toast.
Yeah. Not much one for public speaking.
I like to hold my napkin over my as I stand up.
Look at that lion jump. Oh, everyone laugh at him, right? That's what you're laughing at, not me.
Look at those monkeys riding bicycles. Yeah? Well, who cares? Come on. They're funny.
But if he says he wasn't even trying to hide his true feelings, didn't the king previously say that they would be married someday?
He did, but she's also given him the stiff arm.
Sure,
right?
yes.
There's no way.
She said, "Well, we're too young for that." But I mean, if these other two princesses are looking how handsome he is, that's maybe he can work something out there.
I also wonder. So they haven't seen each other in a long time. They're good friends, right?
Right.
The only thing I can think of is cousins or whatever. All of a sudden you see them, and now they're women. Mm-hmm. Maybe the last time they saw each other, they were like grade school or something. The first thing they do is like, yeah, you gonna get it on with that handsome dude?
Yes,
like,
very much
hey, what
so.
have you been up to for the last 6 years? They get right into it.
Yeah, it really is. The other people that are watching them sort of fawn over Timothy are the Wizard Apprentices. And Brandon thinks it's amusing, as does William. But Jonathan found the whole thing very nauseating. He stuck his finger in his mouth and pretended he was going to vomit. He rolled his eyes and shook his head at the three princesses. So he's stealing some of the Sorceress's Black Cat's moves here. He's doing like the sitcom, like, gag me with the spoon.
This reminded me exactly of when I was in a choir in the 3rd grade. I was acting like Jonathan in the back row, thinking that no one was noticing me. And I think they made me wear a tie, so I was kind of doing like I was adjusting my tie and everything. And my choir teacher took me in front of the class the next day and just dressed me down.
Wow.
Like, I saw you the whole time, described my whole routine, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty accurate. It was humiliating.
Wow, did you quit?
I couldn't. It was school choir. But he was my grandma's next door neighbor, so I would see him while I was just playing outside the house.
Oh, nice.
And he'd just kind of stop mowing his lawn and look over at me menacingly.
You have to give him a little tie adjust then and run inside. Wow. I was in the church choir in probably 6th grade, the kids choir, and I am. If people have heard, riff tracks where Disembodios sings, I'm not a good singer. I don't know if, or the model land is not her home. But I don't know why I was doing this, but at some point in time I was like, I was making my voice high to sing these parts. What's a song? What's a song I could sing here?
Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Don't go breaking my heart. I was just singing that, and at some point in time I was like, I don't know. Don't go breaking my heart. And being like, well, there's a dozen kids here. She's never going to notice that. And the person was like, she pulled me aside and she thought it was puberty related. I was like, I just stopped doing this. And I never went back to that. That was having the church children's choir teacher talk to you about your voice changing because of puberty was that's like Timothy giving a toast here. You can never recover from that.
Oh, Timothy. Yeah. But getting back to the book, then they have then these discussions start. Mm-hmm. And I got to admit, I don't have a lot of notes for these when they start their planning.
Yeah.
and talking about how they're going to do their, which is always left foggy. Like, when should we mount our attack? Like, you should have been doing this a long time ago because we're more than halfway through the book.
I just said, like, they say, how should we mount the attack? And then one of the impatient knights or princesses says, like, we should do it now. And then they say, please, princess, remain calm. We must. It's like they individually had all three of the discussions in their own provinces, and then they got together and they're reprising them. So, yeah, it was sort of an eyes glaze over kind of moment.
And they keep restating what they're there for, which is like, isn't that, we kind of knew this already, but we get like 3 reprisals of that. So, we must prepare for battle. Then they have a meeting where they go like, we're going to go to battle. Like, all right. But this stuck out to me. So someone raises a thing of like, no, we have to wait for we have faith and trust in the prophecy. Mm-hmm. That's, I guess, William who asked that. And he says, I fear that the prophecy was not true. I'm sorry, young man. Everyone in the royal conference chamber became very sad at the king's news that the prophecy was not true.
Wow.
Fake news.
Yeah, man, the king just sort of, he wakes up the next day and that's the headline. And he's like, I just said that off the top of my head. And
you're totally
the stock market
spitballing.
tanks and oh my God.
It's just killing time. My toast was failing. I just...
Yeah, that's hilarious. I didn't pick up on that.
Their hearts were broken and their spirits were low after that news.
Wow. No, I just fired off a tweet. That's like Elon Musk affecting Dogecoin or something.
Yes.
Wow. Well, to his credit, though, I don't think this was specified. But if the king does not believe in the prophecy, it may be because we're learning now that the prophecy is delivered by the head centaur of the unicorns.
Oh, I didn't see. I may have skipped over specifics of the prophecy because I have some serious questions about that.
Okay.
So does it go into detail about
Wizard
it?
Apprentice William said, what about the prophecy of the human child from the other waters? The head centaur of the unicorns told us many years ago of this prophecy would deliver us from the sorceress and the dragon. And they had previously said, like, we need to go protect the head centaur of the unicorns. She'll be destroyed if we don't do it. And evidently, she is the one that issued this prophecy. Head centaur of the
but
unicorns.
no specifics of it.
It doesn't say. It just says years ago she prophesied this. I mean, William is a teenager, so it must have been within his period of time.
Oh, this is a brand new prophecy, fresh off the.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, it's not it's not the sword in the stone that's been in the town square for years or something.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, it's just a new crackpot that's popped up. A new head centaur took over and sort of like a new pope. They started issuing new edicts or something.
Yeah, she looked into her magic hat and had a new prophecy.
Yeah. So
all right,
but that's the thing. But then so then the king says it's not true, and everyone gets sad. And the centaurs, knights, fairies, and mini-wads were beginning to give up hope. They had no idea that the child from the other side of the waters in Antigua had made it to their land and was actually looking for the 3 kings. Meanwhile,
we go back to the land of Oz.
Yes,
which we didn't know Antigua was, and now we meet a character that, holy moly, this is a great character. If I think this did come up in real or fanfic.
Yes, and it was...
I hope to God I said that it was fanfic.
It might have been... I don't remember if it was in the bonus one or this one, but it was so unbelievable.
Maybe I dunked it then. Maybe I got it right. I don't know. But you would never... It would be insane to guess that this was a real character.
And the character, of course, is Gordal the gorilla, who gets one of the greatest introductions in literary history. They were very noisy monkeys that were making all kinds of squeaking noises. So that's a little more clarity into the all kinds of noises they were making. They've dialed them back.
There were squirrel monkeys, too.
Oh, it says that? Oh, yeah, squirrel monkeys jumping around. Yep. Oh. But then she saw a gorilla sitting in one of the trees eating a banana. The gorilla's name was Gordal. And Rebecca had seen a gorilla in the zoo in England before, but had never seen one this close before. So, I mean...
Why are we back to England now and not Britain and not Wales? Did she see it at the Wales Zoo, at the Cardiff Zoo?
Spin the wheel, and that's where what part of that region she is in. But I mean, a 6-year-old's understanding of gorillas for the fact that they're sitting in a tree eating, right? Like just a pure cartoon, like a video game villain that's up there tossing bananas at you.
I mean, yes, I would say from kindergarten to 3rd grade, maybe.
You might have thought that, yeah. And
Gordal the gorilla. Gordal the gorilla sat in a tree eating a banana.
But then we get a Hall of Fame. I don't know what you call this part of speech, but the introduction to his actual quote is, "The talking gorilla yelled, 'Hey, you human girl, where are you headed?'" And she sort of says, like, "Oh, I'm trying to get to Oz to see this." And he's like, "Oh, well, I can take you there." And she says out loud to herself, "Why not? I've already seen talking mermaids and talking trees. Why not talking gorillas?"
I also like that, "Hey, you girl, hey, you human girl." No punctuation on that. It just makes it that much better. "Hey, you human girl." That's my Gordal.
Yeah. Oh, he's sort of a dirtbag.
Yes, exactly.
And then the monkeys stopped playing around in the trees. They stared at Rebecca in awe. The gorilla dropped his banana and gasped. So he's sort of his monocle's falling out of his eye. He's doing a spit take.
Also, Gordal the gorilla says, like, "Who are you?" She says, "I'm blah, blah, blah." He goes, "'Cause I know everyone around here." Gordal the gorilla?
Yeah.
He's like, he comes down out of the trees. He walks up to the blacksmith's place. He's like jingling the change in his pocket. "Hey, what's going on?" "Oh, hey, Gordal. What do you do? Are you doing that sword for Sir Timothy, or is that for Sir Barrington, huh?" "Gordal, I really don't have time." "All right, hang on. I'm going to go over to the dry goods store. I don't know. I'll see you later, John."
Oh, God, Gordal. I was thinking he might be like the town councilman who just, pops into the coffee shop and are like, "Hey, how'd that new order work out? Like, did the city workers fix the ramp in front of the store? That's great. Glad to hear it. Like, let me know if you need anything." He's just the sort of like the friendly mafia don kind of guy who just helps everybody out, shovels old lady sidewalks.
Right. And then is like, has that unbelievable ability, which I have zero of, to go, "And how are you have 3 kids, right? How is Betsy? Last time I talked to you, she was going into 3rd grade. She must be growing up like a weed."
Yeah.
Like, holy cow, how do you do that?
She's still playing travel soccer?
That's Gordal.
Yeah.
So it's more like, "Hey, you human girl, what's going on?"
Sure, yeah, I think so. I mean, he's a family man. He's and later it's revealed in spectacular fashion that the king knows who Gordal is. So we'll get to that.
Yes.
But he sings and dances a song, and after he finished singing and dancing, Gordal caught his breath. He was a little short of breath. He was finding it difficult to breathe.
Gordal,
yeah,
Gordal.
God, come on, help! Spider monkeys, get for help!
Gordal's left arm went numb, and he smelled burnt toast. But the fact that we don't get Gordal's song,
yeah,
come on, how hard would it be to write Gordal's song? Put Larry on it.
Yeah, really, yeah. Get Larry to do a Jimmy Buffett parody.
"Larry, I've got Card Club, but I need a song for Gordal."
Yeah, who's Gordal?
Gordal is the gorilla. Please, Larry, focus.
No, yeah, I know.
It's a gorilla song for, he's eating a banana and jumping around. Yep. He's scratching under each underarm,
sure.
And he sings a little song.
Got
Just
it.
write it and have it by the time I get back from Card Club.
Nibbling on banana cake, watching my lungs ache. All of these monkeys, coconut oil. That's pretty good. I think I could play that. Is there an open mic tonight, honey? She left. Oh boy, I hope she's bringing back some Malibu. I'm running low.
She comes back. He's passed out in a Chase lounge. She looks at the typewriter. There's there's dirt on it and
typewriter. Huh? That's what he's working on down there. He's got his old Remington.
Underwood. He's banging away at his old Underwood. All right. So no song, which is just a huge, huge mistake.
I put the note, "Do this song if feeling ambitious," and I was not feeling ambitious. So I guess that's they took the same out there as well.
So he leads her on in true Wizard of Oz style.
Mm-hmm.
or a little bit of Chronicles of Narnia here, I would say, as well.
Okay.
Bringing her to his secret home to meet... Gordal was my favorite character. Glendra Gorilla quickly becomes my favorite character, maybe in all of literature.
All right, yes.
Yeah, Glendra.
Yeah.
Give us a little Glendra.
Well, when Gordal Gorilla and Rebecca got home, he opened up the front door to his... he lives in a cave in the mountains.
Yes, there's a waterfall
cave.
covering, yes.
And Glendra says, "Gordal, honey, is that you?" Gordal asks sarcastically, "Were you expecting another gorilla?" Glenda Gorilla yelled from Bubo's nursery, "Don't be silly, honey! Gordal, have you been up in the trees monkeying around with all those monkeys? Honey, you know it's getting late, it will be dark soon." So I assume that wakes Bubo up. Like, that's if she's yelling from his nursery.
Yeah, she's like rocking him to sleep and then turns to yell
and then
at Gordal in the other room, who, by the way, gives a legitimate joke when he comes in. Gordal yelled, "Hey, honey, I'm home," before she... And, I figured that joke was really landing with the kindergarten to 8-year-olds who think that gorillas sit in trees eating bananas. So that was,
right.
Jokes from like the Flintstones or something.
They expect the 1950s suburbia tropes to that's what the kids want.
The kids give their kind of light applause when they say that.
And then she says that, "Gordal, I know you didn't invite a guest over to this cave with this place looking like this. Sometimes, gorilla, I don't even have the sense you were born with." So again, 1950s TV moms catchphrases there saying that they don't have the sense they're born with.
And also, she chastises Gordal. "Gordal, have you been up in the trees monkeying around with all those monkeys?" And then she says that she's been staying in all day, taking care of their, working her fingers to the bone and all of this. So what is going on? How do the gorillas, I assume that's their last name, Gordal and Glendra and Bubo, how do they make bank? He goes up and plays in the trees with the spider monkey, or squirrel monkeys.
Well, he's Larry. He's up there writing songs and hanging out with the spider monkeys, like they're his bar buddies, and
she is working her fingers to the bone.
It sounds like it says she was exhausted from doing chores and caring for a tiny gorilla all day long. So the chores involve, I guess, straightening the place up, which she didn't do because she said it's a mess. I don't know if she's taking care of, how she has to reroute the waterfall, if that like springs a leak, if there's like stalactite maintenance in the cave.
Yes, I guess. And but then so Glendra Glendra asks, Rebecca, what are you doing here? Who are you? And she gives the whole spiel, which then in this book becomes like, I believe they call this a peroration, when you just keep saying the same thing over and over again or repeating it in different beats.
In Antigua?
Yes. So she gives her paragraph and a half of, where, I'm the maiden, the mermaids, Philander and Shrana came up and blah, 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 on and on and on. And then she goes, "Gordal, where did she say she was from? Did I hear her right?" "Yes, honey, you heard her right." Then he says, that these times are over. Yeah, same stuff. The evil witch's days are numbers. And then Glendra, this is where she becomes my favorite character. Glendra Gorilla started running back and forth in the cave. She was a nervous wreck and she was hysterical. Now, if you're a child from Wales/Britain /England/London, and a giant gorilla starts running back and forth hysterically in the cave, baring teeth, probably grunting, making those aggressive advances.
Yeah, doing the King Kong,
beating the chest.
Probably going like because she's nervous and hysterical.
What is happening here? Do you have any idea?
I don't know what we're supposed to take away other than, a cartoon character, just like, when they're told the boss is coming over. "Oh my God, I've got to, but then what about I don't even have anything to make it." And then you got to do the slap, pull yourself together, Glendra.
But it just seems, so did she toss the baby Bubo to,
yeah.
to Gordal? Did she hand it to... anyway, that's omitted, so I assume she's running back and forth hysterically with a child in her arm.
Yes.
But curious moment.
You must be assumed. And she's part of the reason she's so freaked out is because she knows the big-eyed owl will be have spotted her. So she's aware of the evil sorceress's owl. Everyone knows she has that. But we also had, I think, my favorite adverb. I'm going to make two bold claims here coming up about two of my favorite things ever. This one I think is probably true. My favorite adverb usage in all of literature. When Glendra is introduced to Rebecca, Glendra looked at Rebecca and said non-caringly, "Oh, it's a little human girl."
Wow, I missed that.
Non-caringly. I mean, just the twisting yourself into inventing a way to say something that we all know how to say already is pretty amazing.
Wow, I missed that.
But then we get this one, which answers your question about the baby, and this is my favorite sentence in the book. Time is of the essence. If we don't get her out of her right away, she could be harmed, and the land of Antigua will be lost to the evil sorcerers forever. Glendra Gorilla grabbed a bottle of cow's milk and gave it to her baby gorilla Bubo.
Yes.
It just filled me with joy as I read that. The needless specificity of the cow's milk, giving it to, specifying the baby gorilla Bubo, and it being kicked off by Glendra Gorilla is just it's a symphony.
It gets better, though. She forgot about, because she was giving cow's milk, to her baby, she forgot about Rebecca and Gordal. When she realized what she had done, she slowly went back into the cave and smiled innocently. She whispered, "Oops, I forgot the child from the other side of the waters of Antigua, and of course you, honey. My bad." And then Gordal said, which I think is correct, "Honey, you really ought to get a grip on yourself. You're losing it."
I leave you at home with our son all day? How many of these hysterical freakouts are you having?
Followed by weird whispered things. Yeah. And oh my God, you are losing it, honey. Honey, are you day drinking? Just be honest with me.
Really, yeah, we can get you help. I'm just imagining Larry having like a sort of like yellowed tank top t-shirt with like a Big Dogs, logo on it that says like Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And the dog is just saying, my bad type of thing. Like that. That's got to be where that comes from.
Yes. Unexpected to have the gorilla mother say my bad.
Yeah. We also get into the owl, which what they didn't know was that Orend the sorceress's owl was up in a tree spying on them. So Glendra's paranoia was proven correctly. He had been flying around cautiously throughout the day, spying on the inhabitants of the land of Antigua. He said, "Hoo-hoo," and blinked his big, beautiful owl eyes. And I thought he had a magic telescope, but he doesn't. He flies all around, and then the queen sees what he sees through his crystal ball.
He's a drone, yes.
But so
he's just a drone.
He does have to be in the vicinity of who he's spying on. He's not just like a seer from the top of her tower, her Sauron tower, that can look anywhere. He does have to go follow around his charges.
It's good to know, though, that even if Orend had been wearing a veil, you could still tell that he had beautiful, beautiful owl eyes.
It does it makes you reevaluate how beautiful all those other belly dancers and princesses were, and the tiaras of diamonds and stuff.
So then we go back to the castle, the evil sorcerer's castle, and
in the north, where relatives rarely visit.
Right. And here we get a couple of traits from the cat, which I just find. I mean, what do we get from the 7 knights? The 7 each have one particular trait, right?
Yeah, wise, impatient, reading magazines, all the standard traits.
The standard ones, wearing glasses. and tell me, just quick quiz. What is the cat's? What's the cat's trait?
I mean, he's sassy and sarcastic.
Yes, that's true. That is 100% true. But he's also extremely vain and looking at himself in the mirror all the time. And is chubby. 3 traits for the black cat?
Wow. I mean,
come on.
That's as fleshed out a character as you're going to get here.
Yeah, because the cat is looking in the mirror saying, what a fine-looking cat I am. I look fantastic. Look at my coat. Look how shiny it is.
And then he says, look at my perfectly trimmed whiskers. Look at my tail and how perfectly trimmed it is. But they spell it P-E-R-R.
Yes.
So they went for a joke and just like slipped on a banana peel and crashed through a plate glass window.
But I do like that the cat. So then every single time, then the evil sorceress does something, the cat or screams at it or turns it into something, and then it always does the dad from Christmas Story, like reckon. What did you say? I said you're really nice and stuff. Every single time.
Yeah, it's very much a Disney villain who has an animal like that. I think
yes.
The parrot in The Lion King or the parrot in Aladdin, I guess.
Right.
But yeah, she says, we don't have time for your vanity at this time. And then he says, when he whispered to himself quietly so the sorceress couldn't hear her. Oh, yeah, I guess it's a woman. You ugly, evil, touchy, bad-tempered troll witch. So I don't know. I think that the cat could be shaping up to defect at the end of this, to sort of betray the witch. I think they lay it on pretty thick here.
Final show off between Jonathan and the cat, perhaps?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Which one? They're going to change places, maybe. Or the wizard turns Jonathan into a cat, and then they do a body swap. If that happened, that would, the greatest book of all time. I did like, though, that the sorceress and the cat decide to take a look into the crystal ball to see what their owl is spying on.
Sure.
Gwendeviere walked up to her crystal ball and waved her hands over it. When looking through the crystal ball, Gwendeviere saw nothing but smoke. But after the smoke cleared, she could see clearly. She saw and heard the two gorillas leading Rebecca toward the marketplace. So you have to imagine she's like, well, this, give it a couple whacks. Like, this thing is not picking up anything that's actually happening here. Like, come on, right. Stupid ball. Like, let's see what's actually happening in Antigua. Like, armies amassing, or, the princess is practicing archery. Gorilla, what the hell?
Yeah. Cat, go up and grab the antennas and just hold on to him for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, move it to the right. Yeah, just stay right there.
No, the other right, Cat.
Don't move. But so the evil sorceress, this is her trait. She turns things into other creatures and then quickly turns them back. And she does this concurrent, like within a paragraph, to two different creatures. You have to imagine there's a lot of like J.O. gestures going on after she's turned.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I became a rat for a second. Yeah.
Yeah, it really.
Yeah, please don't do that to me again. Now, can I get about my day?
Yes, really. I have weight to gain here.
Yes, I've got to go start telling people to make steel weapons, okay? So
trolls. But the witch is not super subtle, because it says a look of pure evil came across her face. Which would be a great time for her family to surprise her with one of their rare visits. We'll just back out the doorway here. It looks like you're busy. But she says, they think that the child is going to destroy me. Well, they're all wrong. I will destroy the human child before she destroys me. I will burn her in the fire ritual, as the prophecy states. So I think this is the first mention that's how the sorceress has to prevent this from happening, is to burn a child in the fire ritual. And we can only hope that it's different than the fire ritual in Trucking Through Time.
Oh, God.
we can only hope there's no Charles E. Harris influence here, I think.
I had forgotten that, because I had a lot of questions about the prophecy coming up. But, yeah, okay, so that's her out. The prophecy gives the queen an out. In other words, the prophecy's not really a prophecy if it could go one of two ways,
sure,
right?
Yes, if they, in case of prophecy, pull the fire ritual lever.
Yes. Yeah, so she turns Gozarf.
Yeah, great.
I hope you heard the two R's there in Gozarf.
Yes.
Gozarf is like...
the head goblin.
Yes. So he has to go and whip the trolls into making more steel weapons. Mm-hmm. Which I love the specificity of it. Like, they had already been doing this. And so I guess when he leaves the room, they just, like, take a smoke break, take those folding chairs out, and they put their legs up on that. Yeah. And then they sit back and read, the auto car times. Tattoo or whatever.
Magazines.
Yes. And then he has to come in and go, We have to make the steel weapons. I'm in big trouble here. They're barking up my snorkel, man.
Yeah, maybe the trolls have a strong union or something. Like they don't have to. They've bargained for breaks. Yeah.
So anyway, he whips them back into shape, and they start making the steel weapons. So I mean, I guess if the United Kingdom, the three had any reconnaissance, they'd know that like she's not going to get her shit together for like another 6 months.
Right.
I mean, the steel weapons aren't ready. I mean, we should just attack.
Troll craftsmanship cannot be up to our welder standards. I mean,
that's right. But then, let
me just show you, I wanted to share her conversation with Gozarf because it was very entertaining.
Oh, okay, good.
She just says, "We cannot hope to win a battle without those weapons. Make the trolls understand, Gozarf. They will listen to you. Do you understand me, Gozarf? If you fail me, Gozarf, I will personally place your head on a platter and feed it to my alligators. Am I making myself clear, Gozarf?" So she's doing the unsettling used car salesman or politician thing where she just says your name a whole bunch when she's talking to you.
I got to tell you right now, Gozarf, we are going to get you into this charger because you know what? Women love a charger, Gozarf.
Okay, well, I should probably run this by
Gozarf, I know what you're thinking. You want to talk to your dad.
Yeah,
your dad is going to tell you what I'm telling you, Gozarf, and that is this charger with this model of engine is going to get you so much tail, Gozarf. You know what I'm saying? All right, let's get you.
But I told myself I would not
Gozarf,
come out of here without a car. I just wanted to shop around.
Gozarf.
See what the Ford dealer says.
Get in the
Can I have my
seat,
keys
Gozarf.
back? I know you said you needed to inspect my car for trade-in value, but I'd like them back now.
I'm not taking no for it. I gave you coffee, Gozarf.
God, is the printer still broken?
Here, off we go.
Very unsettling. Yes. I'm going to start doing it to you as we do the podcast. All right, Mike. So the Sorceress Gwendeviere yelled, "What is it now, cat?" Did you read that part, Mike?
I'm already creeped.
She says, "Does what I just said disgust you? Remember, the alligators would like to eat your head as well." So the alligators are just a bunch of weirdos down there that are just like, they want to eat heads. The lions here eat bones, the gorillas eat bananas, and the alligators eat heads. That's what they do.
The alligators are like that weird thing that killer whales do where they kill great white sharks and they only eat their liver.
Really?
And then just leave. Yes.
Wow.
So they find like 7 sharks floating up on shore, meticulously livers removed. What are you guys doing out there?
It's a delicacy. It's our Carl.
So I think it's worth revisiting Frying Pan Mouse.
Okay, sure. Yep.
We go back to that. This was I think a masterful reel or fanfic. I assume I got this one wrong.
This was in the bonus, I think, and I think you said no one would fault me for thinking this was fanfic, but I think you guessed real. I think it was just you were just in the zone. Who can tell what your thought process were?
But what it is just in case you missed that, and some of you probably did miss it, is we just kind of cut to, we got all this action going on. The black cat walked into the kitchen and started eating cat food from her bowl. Sure. Mm-hmm. She's chubby.
Yeah.
Suddenly she saw a mouse in one of the corners of the kitchen. The mouse was trying to carry a small piece of cheese into its small hole. When the mouse saw the cat, he dropped the piece of cheese and ran as fast as he could across the kitchen. The mouse was just about to run into his hole in the wall when the cat jumped right in front of the hole. So Tom and Jerry. Blah, blah, blah. The cat ran right after him. The mouse ran up onto the counter, over to the sink, and over to the kitchen cabinets. The mouse grabbed a frying pan and then hit the sorceress cat upside her head. The cat became very dizzy and then passed out on the floor. Not the last time that's going to happen.
Yes, fantastic. Yeah, it's a, cut to an action scene. And, if anything, this screams Larry, I think. There's probably a Tom and Jerry on Toon Network at 3:15 in the morning, and he saw it, and Denise woke up to find that in the document.
Yeah, this is, when you're writing a script and you just like, I'm going to just leave this to the storyboard guys. I don't know. There's some sort of action scene or something. And at the end, the cat's passed out on the floor.
Cartoon birdie circling his head.
Okay, I think I'll figure that out. I'll write a slapstick bit. Here you go. Frying pan.
Yeah. I was imagining, you're doing the running and all the other pans are hanging and they hit his head as he's running through them, and it sort of plays do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do as he's trying to get past them.
Right.
All that was missing was his head getting stuck in something and, having to pull it off with a slide whistle effect or something. Or
Yes. But I think that's is there a natural break with, I'm in the book, I think.
There is
I
a
think it's the
natural
end.
break. We get to, I'll just run you through what happened at the end, because it says it doesn't say meanwhile, but back at the castle of King Aurthorr. We get some good aliens describing human talks here. Like we've said, that's always, The Room is like a movie that was, aliens that got a little bit right about humans, but not entirely there.
Oh, yes.
The young wizard apprentices and Timothy got together to hang out around the castle. They were joking and horsing around, as young men often did. Yeah.
Oh, I just had forgotten that there was this whole description of the fair. That's right. Yeah. So this is not the end of the book. But this made me think, because here they are again. It just re-describes the fair.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But the entire kingdom together, one very small concentrated area. Couldn't Gwendeviere, is that her name? No,
the evil sorceress, Gwendeviere.
Evil sorceress. Yeah. You just send the dragon now.
Yeah, right.
Even the hologram of the dragon.
Yeah, I mean, hologram, then real dragon, like back to back.
Instead, the owl is, his reconnaissance is to chase around a gorilla or whatever. Like, you've got everyone together at one time. This is the greatest failed bit of reconnaissance in all of history.
Yeah, especially because we later learned there's an additional part to the prophecy that requires the three princesses to team up with the girl from Wales.
Yes.
So, you could strike now while they're all together.
Right.
But so what they do here is they decide, Princess Sasha decided that her and Princess Trina and Princess Alexandra would have a practice session together and let everyone in the castle watch. So it's very much like our 8-year-old wants to come in and sing the national anthem at our dinner party here. We're going to let everyone watch. And the mini-wads are being like, oh, my God. They're going to make us watch these 13-year-old girls twirl their magic sticks. Like, this is awful. And the only other note that I had, I think, was it says that the fair, where, it lists the creatures that are there, mini-wad centers, gnomes, and animals. It's packed with inhabitants. Everyone was there to eat and purchase foods, fruits, vegetables, and items that the women mini-wad had made. And I wanted one example, just.
Yes. What do women mini-wads make?
Yeah, they made a bootleg handheld Nintendo system that plays all the ROMs that they downloaded. They have access to high-tech electronics that surprises you. But then it says, little human children and mini-wad children ran everywhere. And it just reminded me of how, in order to make, Star Wars seem more exotic, they would always have like the human kids pod racing. And then there'd be like one kid in a Greedo mask.
Yeah.
That's like, oh yeah, there's a mini-wad there too, because this is space. So, that he's just running around with them.
They were chasing each other and playing tag throughout the marketplace. Even dogs, roosters, chickens, and rabbits were running around the marketplace.
Whoa, even dogs? The most common household animal there is?
Now, pigs, goats, horses, and cattle, were they running around the marketplace?
I hope so.
No, they were being auctioned off. So, no reason to, the roosters, chickens, and rabbits? The roosters and chickens, by the way.
Sure, right, yeah.
And rabbits were running around. The pigs, goats, and horses and cattle were being auctioned off. It was a horror show for them.
Yeah, right. They killed them where they stood because the mini-wad women needed some more food to sell.
Oh, yeah. So is that the end of that? I'm sorry.
Yes, it is. Yeah. It says that they all knew that one day they were going to have to go and battle with the evil sorceress Gwendeviere. They used this time to enjoy their way of life in the land of Antigua. It's the calm before the storm.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. That was chapter
10. And
10.
Let's this is only 2 chapters today, so let's use this break to get into some fanfic. Real or fanfic, the popular segment we do here, where listeners write their own fanfic about Antigua, land of fairies, wizards, ghosts, mini-wads, bad attitude foxes. We'll get to that.
Gorillas.
Gorillas. Baby gorillas. And we try to confuse Mike about which of them are the fanfics written by our Patreon supporters and which are actual excerpts from the last few sections of this book. We're nearing the end. But yeah, mentioning the Patreon. That's patreon.com/372 pages. Lots of fun stuff over there. We did a Meet the Authors with Bill Corbett of Riff Tracks this week, where he portrayed a playwright. Mm-hmm. What else have we had up there? I did a deep dive into a popular rap sample. You posted classical minis, all sorts of nonsense.
Yeah, people really liked your rap deep dive.
Good, because it took some effort.
Yeah, you're producing. I'm just throwing crap up there.
So yeah, we appreciate everyone who does that, and we will probably hype it again because someone wrote an email about the Patreon, so we will touch on that. But patreon.com/372 pages. Go support it. We appreciate it. Thank you. All right, ready to do it?
Yeah.
All right. I'm eating something. Here we go.
Eating on mic. What kind of professionalism is this? Right after I compliment your professionalism.
Making a pitch for money.
Your Bugs Bunny. On
Yeah. All right. I'm drinking cow's milk. Fanfic or real. Here we go. Number 1. Yerwin stopped walking suddenly and put up his hand in a stopping motion. Timothy, the Princess Alexandra, the Wizard Apprentice William, and the Wizard Apprentice Brandon all stopped too. Princess Alexandra looked at Timothy. Yerwin said, "Do you hear that?" Everyone listened. Princess Alexandra whispered, "Yerwin, I can't hear anything." Yerwin looked at Princess Alexandra and said, "Exactly. No birds chirping or monkeys playing. Even my superior elf ears cannot hear a sound." The Princess Alexandra readied her bow. The Wizard Apprentice William, the Wizard Apprentice Brandon both held out their wands and nodded to the princess. Yerwin yelled, "Snakes!" The heroes began to run through the forest. They were being surrounded by the evil sorceress Gwendeviere's evil snakes. Their red eyes looked evil, each snake with fangs as sharp as knives, poisonous black venom dripping from their teeth.
Okay, that's good. Doing the action movie trope. It's quite possible Larry had just seen an action movie and it's quiet.
Too quiet.
Too quiet. And he put that in there, but I'm going to say fanfic.
All right. Number 2. Athroth heard a noise coming from the woods, and then suddenly he found himself and Lady Alamaj surrounded by 10 rebel knights with swords. The 10 rebel knights had their swords pointed right at the head of the eagle man, Athroth. Athroth looked all around at the rebel knights. He pleaded, "Please don't hurt me. We mean you no harm." The rebel knight, Antoine, said, "Look at what we have here, fellows. We have a wounded damsel and a skinny kid." The rebel knights laughed. Athroth wasn't amused. He asked, "Who are you calling skinny? And who are you calling a kid? I just want you all to know that I am 17 years old and soon to be 18. I am a man, and I'm not just any man. I am Athro, the Eagle Man." The rebel knight Dwayne said sarcastically, "The Eagle Man you are? Well, we're all terrified." The rebel knights laughed out loud again. They all put their swords away. None of them saw Lady Alamaj or Athro as any kind of threat. Athro stood up and backed up. He opened up his wings and spread them out wide. The rebel knights were stunned. The rebel knight Shamar said, "Hey fellas, will you look at that? The young lad is an eagle." The rebel knight Laurent said, "Well, he does have wings like an eagle."
All right, see, here's where it gets difficult. That should obviously be fanfic. But people know I've been biting on things like calling Gordal the gorilla real, and so now they're inventing new Gordal the gorillas.
Cat frying pans?
For me to fool me. But I don't know, just because I'm a betting man, I'll say that's real.
Okay. Number 3. The Wizard Apprentice William continued his search for the Master Wizard Vlandorf's magic wand. William walked carefully through Blackwoodsberry Forest. He could hear the crickets chirping. He heard an owl up in one of the trees. He heard in the far distance deep into the forest a wolf howling. He even thought he heard the sound of a witch screaming deep in the woods. Suddenly, William heard a strange noise. He didn't recognize the noise. Then he heard the noise again. It was like a snorting sound. Out of nowhere, a wild boar ran through the forest right towards William. The boar was a type of wild pig. The wild animal was over 300 pounds and it was 5 feet long. It had a thick black coat, was dirty, and smelled really bad. William didn't have time to worry about the wild animal's physical appearance. He was too busy trying to save his own life. The wild animal made a loud shrieking noise and advanced right toward William. The Wizard Apprentice William ran through the forest as fast as he could. The wild boar would not give up. It just kept running after William. The wild animal wanted to gore William. The wizard apprentice William climbed up a tree to escape the wild boar. The animal circled around the tree trying to figure out a way to get to William. The wild boar was hungry and wanted to get to the wizard apprentice William.
Well, a lot of noises in that one, which is real. It's well done. I'll say fanfic.
Okay. Number 4. Quiet, Joey Boo, Mozaba snarled. My father swore his allegiance to the sorceress before you were born. We will see this through. The sorceress's black cat walked in and sat between the 2 huge panthers. She looked like a tiny kitten between the 2 panthers. The black cat said sarcastically, "You boys are all muscle and no brains. You don't need to take orders from that wicked woman. You were strong enough to destroy her whenever you feel like it. Why do you even listen to her?" Mozaba growled, "I should make a snack of you, little cat." Joey Boo said, "No, hold on, Mozaba. Let's hear what this cat has to say. Tell us more about how we could destroy the evil sorceress Gwendeviere." Mozaba yelled, "I will hear no such talk. Have you forgotten about the blue dragon Vorultrar? Have you forgotten that the wise owl Orend watches our every move and sends his signal back to the sorceress's crystal ball? I can take care of old Big Eyes," said the black cat.
Oh, wow. So the revolt. Yeah, someone either picked up on that or it's real. I'll say it's real. Wow. You only go around once.
Sure, yes.
It's like leaving Jack Morris in
exactly,
extra innings.
Exactly. And number 5. Princess Trina suddenly stopped her horse. "The mountain we have to climb to shoot the sorceress's great blue dragon Vorultrar is there," she said and pointed. The mountain rose above the many trees in the central plains of Antigua. It was tall. Snow covered its peak. Princess Sasha, Princess Alexander, and Rebecca were all stunned. "How do we climb that?" asked Rebecca. "We aren't wizards with wands. We can fly up there." Just then there was a fluttering of wings. It was the unicorns. They were coming to fly Princess Trina, Princess Sasha, Princess Alexander, and Rebecca to the top of the mountain. "Oh, how beautiful," said Rebecca. "They can fly us to the mountaintop," said Princess Alexandra. The unicorns that had landed nodded and said, "Yes, we are here to fly you to the top of the mountain." Unicorns had extra long manes to hold on to so you didn't fall off while they were flying.
Oh, that's good. I'm going to say that's fanfic.
Okay.
I'm trying to keep straight the unicorns, centaurs, and then like the unicorn queen of the centaurs or something.
I think the unicorns are not centaurs and centaurs are not unicorns, but the head centaur of the unicorns is a centaur but not a unicorn.
Okay.
So there you go. I mean, duh. All right. Well, I think you're gonna improve your average here.
Okay.
So number 1 was Eurowin hearing with his elf ears the snakes and the evil snakes. A little too quiet, you said. You said fanfic. That was fanfic.
Okay.
Written by Stan. Number 2 was what was this? Oh yeah, the Eagle Man Aethro.
Yes.
You said real. That is real.
All right.
Submitted by John.
Okay. I feel good so far. Now it starts to go downhill.
Again, who could blame you? This was the wizard apprentice William encountering a wild boar, which I debated whether to tell you, but the wild boar was spelled Bore the entire time. I don't know if that would help.
No, it was not.
And you said fanfic, and that is real. So.
Oh, my God.
Long descriptions of a 300-pound, 5-foot-long type of wild pig with a thick black coat.
Wow.
So we've got that to look forward to. That was submitted by Jeffrey. Number 4 is the 2 panthers plotting with the cats, Joey Boo and Mozaba, the Black Panthers. You said real. That was fanfic. Submitted by Chap. Yeah, it's good. That's good. Why blame you? And then number 5, this was the getting to the top of the mountain that is arising out of the plains. That you said fanfic. That was fanfic submitted by Patrick. Okay. So 3 for 5, 60% is I believe that's batting 400. That's a Tony Gwynn batting average here.
Reverting to the mean, right? Mm-hmm. That was a statistical anomaly, just a blip when I got all of those right.
Well, we do have other challengers, so maybe we'll do another bonus one, I think, as we approach the end here. But for now, we've got to get to chapter 11 and see how this goes, because a lot of good stuff happens here.
This is pretty astonishing, yeah. And a lot of edits made because, as I said, I told you before, I was kind of switching back and forth between the book.
I don't understand what your game is here, but I do appreciate knowing what they cut.
They took a hatchet to this pretty long chapter here. Well, I guess for them, it's probably an average chapter.
Yeah.
But anyway, it begins, I think, with a bang as the gorilla family start off on their quest to the marketplace.
Yes.
But right in the path between them and the marketplace was a nasty fox. Now, as a human being, when I see a fox, I go, "Oh, cool!
Yeah,
fox."
yeah, a very exciting thing to spot.
There was once one on. I lived in a neighborhood that had foxes, and one came up on our porch once, right where I could see it, and the sun was reflecting, so he couldn't see me. So I had a super close up of a fox. Very cool. Mm-hmm. But the one thing that I did not feel ever was threatened by a fox.
Yeah, you don't have a tiny dog that you let roam your yard for free. You don't have a hen house, so you consider yourself pretty insulated from the dangers a fox might pose.
Right. However, the two silverback gorillas are absolutely stopped in their tracks, stunned, and cannot believe what they're seeing. They're terrified.
Yeah, so it starts to describe it as we just did. It says, this particular fox feasted on squirrels. He didn't feast on humans or gorillas. So, all right, that checks out. But he found no problem with destroying a couple of gorillas and a little girl. And it goes on to explain that because you're like, well, how could that possibly be? I mean, is he a Tasmanian devil? Like, what is he going to do? The fox wasn't sympathetic to the evil sorceress or the inhabitants of the land of Antigua. He just plain had a very bad attitude. So it's like, speaking of tourist t-shirts, I had one from Duck, North Carolina that had like this sort of duck freaking out on it. And it just said, "I've got an attitude." Or I love my attitude problem or something like that. So I guess this bad attitude leaves him able to destroy a creature that outweighs him by a magnitude of 60, I would guess, maybe 100.
I can't believe. I don't know. Let's go to Fax King for the weight of silverback. Well, we didn't say he was a silverback gorilla. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure.
I'm imposing that on it. But foxes can't be more than
25 pounds.
Oh, I think that would be a very big fox, but I don't know. I hate to display my zoological poor judgment. But he did say that he feasted on squirrels.
Yeah.
So it was, average size. I did note, did not feast on squirrel monkeys. Okay, I wonder if they did they feel left out of that?
Maybe some of the noises they make are fox repelling noises.
Right. But then Gordal does the kind of cartoon pulling up his sleeves,
Yeah.
If it was a cartoon, his fur would kind of go up. Says, "Stand back, ladies. I'll handle this.
It's going to be good."
And, yes. And then they have their little verbal jesting, and then they fight.
Throw down. Hell yeah.
And no description of the fight whatsoever. Once again, no Gordal song.
Mm-hmm.
No description of monkeys on bicycles.
Yeah.
Instead, tedious arguments between apprentice wizards. Talking again and again about plotting against the evil sorceress. But suddenly there's a gorilla fox fight and things get quiet in the Ellis household.
Yeah, this is the sort of thing where, like, if this was a book people respected, like a well-known book, and it was a sort of author, the sycophantic, is that how you say that? The sycophantic fanboys would be like, no, he knows that, like, these are the moments where you really just want to let your imagination take over. Yeah. He doesn't need to draw it out for you, and that's what makes him great. Here's how it goes in this book. Gordal said, "We will see about that fox." Gordal Gorilla banged his fist against his chest and began to fight the fox. Gordal won the fight and threw the fox up against the tree. I mean, it's like the Batman serial we did, where it's like, how will Robin escape from this train that's on fire and about to plunge off a cliff? Find out next week. Next week, Robin got out of the train. That's what happened. Like,
I mean, their skills at describing action, like many of our authors here on 372 pages, probably not up to snuff. Action is tough to write, and that's why
it's very hard.
Yeah, those novelists that can do it tend to just write it like it's a screenplay, and who cares if you, like Stephen King, you add Biff and whack and stuff like that in there. But here they don't even give it a try.
Yeah,
we get a boar fight later apparently, but he can't be bothered to tell us how a gorilla handles a fox.
Yeah, and evidently, I mean, that makes it seem like he just like grabbed the fox and just like bam, hit it with a frying pan like the mouse. But Glenda Gorilla was very concerned for Gordal. She said, "Oh my honey, are you hurt? Let me see." He had a couple of scratches and cuts on him. He was in a lot of pain, but didn't let the pain stop him. He was also extremely tired. So we know that he got out of breath from doing his little dance and song, so maybe that's just related. But the fox got in some licks here. The nasty fox.
That's what I wondered. Like, so, okay, a couple of scratches and cuts on him. That's what I would expect from a fox.
Yeah.
Like, he gets in a couple, he can kind of grab him. But a lot of pain. So was the fox like working the body? Like,
yeah, he was doing the wind up like in the cartoon where his forearm twists in a complete circle and then socks him in the jaw.
I guess.
I think,
or lifting him off the canvas, like with his like
as he hits a speed bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that Bubo maybe should be leading this journey if Gordal can't handle a nasty fox without getting in pain and extremely tired.
Oh, and so the fact that he was trying to catch his breath, was it over quick, or was it like a 10-minute, cutting to them like chewing their nails and cutting to a dog putting his paws over his eyes and stuff like that.
Yeah, shrieking and no, honey, throw in the towel. Well, he fortunately survives because it sets up one of my favorite moments of the book so far. They get to the marketplace. They get to the royal family's tent. King Aurthorr and King Lion Thorn is there. King Thomasson is there. Gordal, Glenda, and Rebecca walked up to the tent of King Aurthorr and Queen Eleonoradora. Gordal said, "My kings and queens, I am Gordal Gorilla, and this is my wife and baby gorilla, Glenda and Bubo." King Aurthorr said, "Gordal, I know who you are." So he's just like, "Oh, how the hell are you, Gordal?"
Gordal, man.
Yeah, you've met.
What is going on?
It's so cool that you showed up here. This rules. I mean, I heard about that fight with a nasty fox. That sounded nasty.
Hang on, this must be Bubo. God, look at those cheeks on Bubo. Oh, are you filling him up with cow's milk? Yeah. I bet you are.
It's like he's been following him on Instagram and knows about his life. So if you ever meet someone who knows about things you've done with you've never met them, it's an off-putting experience. But the king is just pulling it out on Gordal right here.
I guess that would explain what I thought at first was pretty damn lax security. Like, these guys are, preparing for battle, or preparing to prepare for battle, to be fair. They're enjoying their last days before the battle. And a family of gorillas just strides up to the king and queen.
One of them's bleeding.
The seven are, what are they doing? Are they eating meat pies over in the beer tent?
Reading GQ and shining their glasses?
I guess so.
But the Rebecca introduces herself. She says, "I'm Rebecca. I come from the other side of the waters of Antigua. I come from Wales." Everyone at the marketplace gasped when they heard where Rebecca was from. And I guess that was sort of our reaction too, right?
Yes, because she has alternated Britain, England, and Wales
Arabia,
in the last two chapters. Yeah.
So I put the note here just to go back to it. I said, I wonder if she knows taffy. Should we explain that? Because no one knows what that is. We looked up Welsh stuff for a Harry Potter riff one time and came up with, we found an old nursery rhyme called Taffy Was a Welshman. Mm-hmm. Is that the whole story?
Well, it's apparently a song, and it goes way back, and it is a slam, of course, from from Britain to the Welsh. It is about how the traits of the Welsh are that Taffy like sneaks around and steals your stuff as a nasty little. So it's just a demeaning little nursery rhyme. That was set to music. It's like the convoluted story, I guess, of Welsh rarebit.
Yes.
that is
a slam on them
a slam because they can't afford rabbit because they're such pathetic.
Well, they were bad hunters, so if they went hunting for rabbits, that's what they would have to serve you.
Right, they have to serve you toast. So that's what Taffy was a Welshman is.
I think the whole joke was like, in Harry Potter there was always the minor key, like la 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 la, and so we had people like what song would be the least intimidating one to hear a creepy kid on a playground singing, and we decided it was Taffy was a Welshman.
So anyway, that's our knowledge of the Welsh. We apologize to all Welsh people everywhere.
Princess Trina walked over to the king and placed her hand on his shoulder. She whispered with great concern, "Father." She was concerned for her father. We want the plot to advance here, but we've got to spare some moments to acknowledge our favorite Ellis writing styles here.
It is fantastic. And then we get into, so the king knows the prophecy, right? And the prophecy,
even though he denied it in the previous chapter.
Yeah, it's dead. The prophecy's dead. No mea culpa from the king.
Right, yeah. Yeah, people
was wrong.
Yeah, people probably jumped out of windows the night before because they realized the whole, that's their religion, right? If they're believing a prophecy, that's probably been their guiding ethos of their life. They probably threw themselves out of windows, so they realized it was a lie.
For the past 3 to 8 years, I've relied on that prophecy as my only hope.
And we get some very interesting thing about the time frame here, because Rebecca says, well, today I have heard something about a prophecy, but I don't know exactly what it means. So has this all been a day?
A day since the mermaid? Well, yeah.
The mermaids told her about the prophecy, right? So maybe if she escaped her orphanage in the night, fell into the water, this whole thing has had maybe 36 hours of everything we've read in this book so far.
Yeah, I guess that's it. But he says that the prophecy also states that if the 3 daughters of the kings and the child from the other side of the waters of Antigua shoot 4 special arrows into the dragon at the same time, he shall surely be destroyed.
Yeah.
Why are we just starting to talk about what this prophecy is?
You've been keeping that to yourself, King?
Yeah.
Yeah. The prophecy also says that the belly dancers should get in here after hours into my private chambers. It says that the lion gets extra bones.
And you just left it to Gordal the gorilla to sort of just come upon her?
Sure, I know Gordal. The prophecy said that Gordal was going to show up. That's why I was expecting him. You didn't think I knew who he was, right? Some gorilla that lives in a cave? I mean, come on.
We could have been sending out scouts. We could have been, have our wizards try to tell us what kind of arrows. We could have had a crap ton of them made by now.
No, I think it's best to have a fair, act like nothing's going on, talk about invading, never get to it, and wait for a gorilla to show up bleeding at your tent.
And then, but deny the prophecy and then go,
yes,
oh yeah.
The prophecy said I would deny it. Whoa, who just blew your mind?
That's right.
But the special arrows, who knows if they're related to the special stick at all, special mongoose. But he says the wizard Vlandorf throws in here to tell him that the arrows are in possession of the head centaur of the unicorns, and she has had those arrows in her possession for centuries. So the time frame here is just very, very off-putting. We don't know. I mean, is she like she's the belladonna up there? She just sort of exists in a different time frame than everybody else? I don't know.
I don't know, but also, again, if he had spoken the words of the prophecy, which everyone knows about, but I guess he was withholding key bits of information, then they could have traded with the head of the centaur of the unicorns.
Yeah.
And, given them some cattle, sheep, and goats and said, yeah, just give us a pallet of those special arrows.
Right. Yeah. Why make us have to go to you? Like, we're the ones, my daughters need them. So, I don't know. I guess the princesses, every single time there was princesses, they had to hope that they were going to be the ones that would fulfill the prophecy, but it just never kept happening until the girl from Wales showed up.
However, it is too late because apparently it's too late. There's no way we can get those arrows fast enough. And here's this super fast fairy Everline shows up right at that moment.
Elverline.
Yeah. Damn it.
Yeah. And we have seen her before. She had annoyed the pixie Terra by flying so quickly. And
that's true.
And we, maybe you thought that Terra was being unjust in her quick to annoyance, but no, she was not, because you get she's quite an annoying character and quite an annoying writing style. What happens here?
It's so annoying, in fact. But so she delights the younger crowd. The princesses are like, oh, it's the fairy Elverline. It's funny. And the king is just going like, God, I hate this guy. So I wondered, is it like the mosquito ringtone or something? And only people under 30 can see her? Or he's just like,
They only appreciate the comedy of it, I guess.
Yeah.
She flies so fast and disappears as she does it that it makes him have the cartoon fairies around his head, like the cat who got hit with the frying pan.
Right. Yeah. Snaps his head around and goes, blah, 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 blah. And the others are just like doing little, princess claps, with their white silken gowns on, going, oh, you do so delight us.
But they send her Elverline to go to the head centaur of the unicorns to sort of tell them that they're coming, or to get the arrows themselves. Yeah, no, they tell her to expect the princesses that are going to come there. And the one thing we get about how fast she's going here is that Elverline flew out of the area and up into the sky so fast that fire came behind her body as she flew away.
Sonic booms.
Yes.
And lighting the actual oxygen on fire.
Like the tracks of the DeLorean as it went back in time. So yeah, that's pretty fast. I could see being annoyed by that.
But then, great little... Talk about the lack of action before. Mm-hmm. All is forgiven, Ellis is. Because we get a little Top Gun scene as the owl Orant chases Elverline and keeps up. We were told Elverline was so fast that the owl couldn't keep up with her. That was, I think, explicitly stated. But the owl does keep up with her, in fact.
Sure.
So she pulls a maneuver. She does the, no, he's on our tail. He's on our tail. I want him on our tail. Like, all right, on my move, pull up, and hit the air brakes. And then she hits the air brakes, and the owl flies right past her. And she comes swooping in right behind him and acquires target right away. It's awesome.
Yeah. Maverick!
Yes.
So then that confuses him so much that he got dizzy from flying around in a circle at high speed, flew right into a tree, and slipped down to the ground. So that is the cartoon. Like, you hear the sound of him streaking down the glass as he comes to the ground.
Yes.
And then she, what does she do? The sorceress is monitoring through the owl's eyes, but then through the magic crystal ball, the sorceress's cat is watching the fairy, and he gets so dizzy that he sarcastically says, I can't take this anymore. Watching this fairy is making me dizzy. And then she was so dizzy, she bounced into the walls and the furniture in the chamber, and then she passed out on the floor. So I think the cat is a serious condition. It's either, prone to vertigo or still recovering from the concussion from the frying pan.
Yeah, the last we left, the cat. Yeah. Well, the sorceress did spun her around with her.
Oh, got it. Okay, so
yeah.
She said, you think this is dizzy? I'll show you dizzy. Got it.
Yeah. So she passed out, and then the sorceress cat woke up, looked around. She was still too dizzy to get up off the floor. She felt like her head was spinning around and around. She moaned and then just laid her head back down on the floor. So a full half paragraph was used to describe the cat, like looking up and going, crash. Right. Well done, Ellis.
But it just makes me wonder what we missed with the fight with the nasty fox with the bad attitude. It's forever going to wonder, like, what if they had been able to do it?
Yeah. But so she makes it to the province of the unicorn, Elverline, that is. Mm-hmm. And as you said, she annoys everyone. Everyone gets dizzy. They hate her, except apparently princesses. But she flies up to the head centaur of the unicorns, and this annoying creature does. And what does she say? She said, Fairy Elverline, what a pleasant surprise. What are you doing way up here in the north? Or was it said like, oh, Fairy Elverline, what a pleasant surprise.
Oh, what are you doing up here in the north where I didn't know fairies could get to? Huh.
Because I was just about to take off.
Pretty busy.
pretty
head centaur stuff here. The unicorns. I mean, and I mean, so yeah, she knows who she is, and then the fairy mentions like, oh, the mermaids escorted her through the waters of Antigua, and the gorilla Gordal helped her through the west to the marketplace. So I was imagining, the head centaur is like, of course, knows who that is, like just like the king did. Yeah. Everyone just knows each other. It's like if you go to a school that has only 30 people in your class, there's not going to be any real surprises. Everyone comes to the same parties, goes to the same dances. Everyone here knows each other. It's like Mayberry or Lake Wobegon.
Yeah, everyone's in everyone's business, though. I wonder, does everyone know the nasty fox, though? And do they all feel that way about the nasty fox?
I think it was apparent from seeing him that he was nasty.
Yeah,
he was just like mangy and just had a chewing tobacco or something like, or maybe it was just like maybe he was like nasty, like he was Dom DeMillo nasty. Want to come back to my den.
So she, the fairy Elverline Noise, flies away from the head centaur of the unicorns, and heads back. But they're just they're at a historic meeting, right, about what to do about the evil sorceress Gwendeviere.
Oh my God! Yeah.
And this is what King Thomasson says. This is after the meeting. King Thomasson said, "Well then, it is settled. We will prepare to go to battle against the evil sorceress Gwendeviere."
It's
what?
Zeno's paradox, man. I'm calling it out again. It's in the books. They're constantly preparing for a battle that we're just getting halfway closer to and halfway closer to. These hacks. But it's great in terms of that. So yeah, they just had the conference. They're preparing to get ready to go to battle eventually. But he says, it's getting late. Let's retire for the evening. We'll prepare for the battle tomorrow. King Aurthorr invited the 3 gorillas and Rebecca to spend the evening in his tent. So that sounds like a miscalculation. I mean, of all the things you're going to do, like don't invite the gorillas. Maybe he needs to be, groomed for lice or something. But then he said he also demanded that Gordal's wounds be attended to immediately. You just had an hour-long conference to decide that you're going to prepare to get ready to do something. Right. He was standing there bleeding the whole time. And he does ask Gordal for an explanation. He says, why do you have so many scratches and cuts on your body? So I do think it was sort of like a Tasmanian devil went through and, he's just covered in them. And he says, it was a fox, Your Majesty. King Aurthorr said, I will have my knights go see to this matter immediately. King Aurthorr demanded that a couple of his knights go in search of the nasty fox and bring him to his royal tent. So, he must have said, go find the nasty-looking fox. And they're like, we'll know him when we see him, sir.
Yeah. Should we prepare for battle?
Yeah,
I mean, prepare to prepare. You know what I mean?
Right, yeah. So that's he does. They do go and find him. Sir Barrington.
Oh yeah, this is so good.
Sir Barrington captures him, threw him on the ground before the king's feet. The fox cried out in pain. King Aurthorr asked, Fox, who authorized you to attack Gordal and his family? Because without the child they were escorting, the prophecy can't be fulfilled. The nasty fox replied, King, I do not care about that child or what the prophecy says. If anyone gets in my path, I will rip them to pieces. The fox was defiant and disrespectful to the king. So he's just a nihilist. He's an anarchist.
I thought about this scene because they go out and get him, and this whole kingdom, the kings, queens, subjects, everyone's happy. Farmers are happy. The people who, do the sword dances and everything, and
mini-wads are happy.
Everybody's chasing everybody around. Just the chickens are happy to be butchered. Whatever. Everything is happy and fine in this kingdom of nice people until we get to torturing the ballsack of a fox with a bad attitude. All of a sudden, it's like, take him into the dungeon and you know how to find the scrotum of the fox.
Yeah, you got to pop it out. It's like it's sort of, the fur covers a lot of it, but, once you find it, it's extremely sensitive. And if you think we're exaggerating, it's not. This is something that happens in a novel that 2 humans wrote. A king sentences a nasty fox to 3 months of solitary confinement in his dungeon. It says 3 months locked in solitary should erase that bad attitude of his. If there's anything that solitary confinement and torture does, it improves your attitude.
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
Yeah, official policy of King Aurthorr.
Oh, it's so great. I wonder if any of the knights, as he turned and like his eyes just glazed over, like steely look, and his arms crossed behind his back, and like the two knights looking at each other like, should we, do you want to say anything? Like, sir, torturing he will surely die in confinement. My order is my order. Yes, sir.
We're so sorry. They throw him in there. There's a fox skeleton already in the gnawing those bones. Do not fashion them into a knife like Grigner did. We know that strategy.
Please do not. Wow, astonishing.
And then speaking of bad attitudes, Trina is taking a stroll through the prairie, or she had taken a stroll, decided to pick a fight with some of the local boys who lived in her father's castle. She stood and watched them for a while, and as she did, she smiled wickedly. And she decided to fight boys who are, playing with fake wooded swords, so they're probably around 7 or 8. She just, beats the crap out of them with her special stick.
Mm-hmm. Princess, the delightful princess who couldn't have looked prettier in her little tiara of rubies and diamonds.
Yeah, who
beats the living snot out of Billy, Anthon, and Joseph.
Yeah. So this is great. Billy is the brother, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So
yes.
I don't know if this was in a fanfic or something, but I have never searched for Billy. I'm not looking up if Billy comes back. Do not send in fanfic about whether Billy comes back or not, because I need it to be a surprise. But this would have thrown off the Billy count if I had looked for it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I think we discussed it at the time, but holy cow.
Yeah, I think we might have done it because this has the second instance of someone backing up and falling over a wheelbarrow.
Yes.
And when we saw that initially, I think we realized there were 2 of them.
But seriously, just wailing on these little kids. Have you ever come across that where you've had to, you get some mean little kids and you're a little bit older and you're like, oh man, I got to walk away.
Right.
I wish I could kick the crap out of them. But she instead is like walking up to them.
Wickedly. She looks at them wickedly.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a dragon to prepare to, and you, as far as we know, don't have a lot of archery training. You're a special stick girl, so maybe get on that.
And maybe, hey, Trina,
mm-hmm.
Why don't you hit the dungeon and work over the fox a little bit? Get out your
right. If you have any wicked instincts, that's the place to do it.
Get your aggression out there.
But that sort of scene exists for no real reason unless she's becoming like Jonathan, a bad attitude like him. I don't think that's happening. It's because this is
it's not, because Rebecca is there to unite them. We just get. Like the Wizard of Oz, you meet character 1, you meet character 2. This is the chapter where the worst instinct of Trina, the worst instinct of Princess whatever, the worst instinct of them, we see them one by one as we walk past. They're like their little, vignettes that we see of them.
Oh, yes. My God. So this stretch is truly unbelievable. We say it a lot.
It's so bad,
but
yeah.
It's Jonathan is frustrated. He walks away from William in anger, and William is left there with Rebecca. And William starts to opine about Trina's motivation and backstory. And he opines for, I have to imagine it was an entire page of the printed book.
Oh my gosh.
He delivers 300 words on Trina's character.
Actually, this might be one of the things they took
Expurgated?
out.
Wow.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. It demonstrates good instincts, but also it's a shame. And who was not going to be happy about that was the people on the dark web.
Oh,
because this is sort of
how would you know that?
I went on to the dark web.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Okay.
I checked it out, and this is sort of like we said about the prophecy, the king had all those prophecies. It was 4 girls, special arrows. This is sort of a holy writ of their dark web area. They consider this, it's like a Q drop. They think there's a lot of things to glean from the Ellis's motivation in these sections, because I'm going to spoil it. William does this 3 separate times.
Okay.
He walks with Rebecca. They encounter the 3 princesses. William speaks uninterrupted about their motivations 3 separate times, and then it says William and Rebecca continued their walk. And the dark web has sort of taken upon these to Rebecca from Wales does not talk this. William just talks at her, and she is silent as they're walking. And they wanted to get into like what she was thinking during this during this thing. So I have the first one here where he's talking about Trina. Let's listen to that one.
Princess Trina is still young.
Yeah.
In fact, all the princesses are. Sometimes they forget what is happening and lose their focus at times.
If I could just
Sometimes
interject.
I think that they are afraid of the battle that lies ahead of us and use their egos to help them cope with the situation.
He's just steamrolling ahead.
This is a frightening time for us all.
What the hell is wrong with you?
We've been in battles like this before, but each time it doesn't get any easier.
He's really in his own little world.
Princess Trina is really a great fighter.
I could say anything right now and he wouldn't
stick in her
notice.
hands, no one can beat her.
You know, I once killed a dog with my bare hands.
She likes to use her talents to show off with the other teenagers. It's okay to have pride.
I poison my restaurant leftovers, then give it to homeless people.
Pride can get her into a lot of trouble.
I'll get you
Young
into a
people
lot
around
of
the
trouble.
kingdom are tired of her challenging them and are tired of listening to her.
Oh, shut up!
What a great
Shut up!
She is. Soon she will go from being a princess who is well-liked and respected to someone who is despised.
I despise you!
Hurt her reputation and that of the royal family if he doesn't quit it.
I can see
What
why the
she's
Wizard
doing
of Princess
is not
Jonathan
the
is
right
clearly
way.
going to betray
She
you
should
at
have
some
been using
point.
her talents to teach others to
I wish
fight as
Charlie
well as she
Octopus had
does.
drowned me.
She should be training them the way she is
Who
going
does
to
this
train
clown
you
think
today.
he is?
That would have been a big help.
hang on, I think he's wrapping
battle
up.
with the evil sorceress Gwendeviere.
Yeah, totally.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's you can sense her frustration. I think I don't think she disguised it at all.
Right. But then the wizard apprentice William and Rebecca continued on their walk, I assume.
Yeah, it's a weird literary device. They do these long things. They encounter someone, and they end it with that sentence, William and Rebecca continued their walk. And the next one they encounter was Princess Sasha, and the dark web reenacted that one as well.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm surprised. They didn't skip that one?
No, this one is, I guess they consider it sort of a keystone to the whole thing. The middle part of the trilogy. It's the two towers of these.
Princess Sasha is a great sword fighter.
Oh,
but
you
her
gotta
problem
be
is that
fucking
she
kidding
feels
me.
she doesn't need help from anyone.
Full
She is
of
trying
her.
to be tougher
Please
than
help a
she
sister
really
out.
is. She is so afraid
Nasty
that
Fox?
if she leans
Anyone?
on others, that will make her look weak.
Okay, I'm
She
gonna
is
will
so
you
afraid
to
of
drop
failure.
dead.
It's okay to have
And
confidence in yourself.
drop dead.
But her kind of confidence can put her in a lot of danger.
Drop
She needs
dead.
help. She needs all of our help.
Die!
She can't do this alone.
Gah!
All she has to do is reach out and accept the help that is being offered to her.
This is
She will
worse than
never be
having a
able to
guy
fight
explain the
sorceress
Christopher
on her
Nolan
own.
movie to me.
Deep down inside, I think she
Or that
realizes
guy who
but
told
she's
me I
too
just
proud to
didn't
admit
get
it.
Joker.
We have to all watch out for her and
I'm
make
gonna
sure
cut
she
his
doesn't
tongue
do
off.
something foolish.
No,
we don't
I'm
want her
aiming
to run
lower.
off and get herself destroyed.
This is like
She is
dating
just
a
foolish
human
enough to try
filibuster.
something stupid that can not only put herself in
Spotify
danger, but
should
all
just
of
give
us
this
as
guy
well.
their next $100 million.
Everyone needs help sometimes. It's
probably
okay
got
to
a
be
cave
strong,
full of
but it's
girls
also
like
okay to
me.
lean on others in times
that
of
your
need.
plan, you son of a
Leaning
bitch?
on others doesn't mean that you are
Gonna
weak.
chain me up and
Leaning
dance
on
around like
others takes
Buffalo
strength
Bill?
Also, why can't Princess Sasha see that?
I don't know, William.
Wow, that's frustrating.
She's boiling over, yeah. But then the Wizard Apprentice William and Rebecca continued their walk.
Sure.
And then the next thing they encounter is Princess Alexandra, and he believe it or not, he opines upon her character as she's practicing shooting her arrows.
Princess Alexandra can shoot a bow and arrow better than anyone in the land of
Okay,
Antigua.
no,
But her
we're
problem
done
is
here.
that she only cares about
Yeah, that's right. Packing heat from Wales, baby. Prophecy didn't foretell that now, did it? Rebecca continued on her walk.
Wow. Well,
Going to be pretty hard to continue your walk after that, William. Let the bodies hit the floor.
oh, wow. He's going to look like he'd had a tangle with a fox after that.
Nasty.
Nasty. Yeah, that is unbelievable. I believe they leave that out of the book.
That's, I mean, what are you going to do? Like, all we've known is about these three princesses' special abilities with their weapons. And so the fact that we're getting a man talking about their backstory probably wasn't super necessary for the 8 to 13-year-olds out there.
And also, we have the similar thing with the wizard apprentices, where everything has to be... I don't know. Could you have stuck with one kingdom instead of 3? Mm-hmm. Just loading the characters and then the character traits, and then you've got the princesses, but then you have the wizard apprentices, but then you have the special traits of the wizards themselves. Yeah. The powerful wizards, sorry.
Everything gets a trait. Everything gets create a character mode. And you would, if you did real or fanfic for me about which of the 3 does this, which of the 3 uses this weapon, which of the 3 has these parents, which of the 3 is from this region, absolutely, it'd be blindfolded darts.
Well, for sure, yeah. That's why I wanted to, if there are maps and things, great.
I liked this part. They're having sort of a squabble between them, probably brought on by William's incessant talking. But Sasha is yelling at. Oh no, Trina is angry at Sasha, and she sort of is frustrated, and then she misspeaks, and it's obviously a typo, but it's very funny to imagine happening in real life. You think you're something special because of that stupid sword of yours. Everyone calls that sword of yours magnificent. Well, I call it nothing more than a chunk of metal. Damn it. Chunk, you knew what I meant. Don't let that distract from my point. God, it's going to be like 3 years from then. They're going to be like, hey, check out this chunk of metal.
Well, you're a big... Just walk away. Yeah. I already blew it. There's no way to land this.
Princess Trina and Rebecca continued their walk.
It must be like when we do Riff Tracks live and you are in the middle of a joke and you stumble, and then you just go like, there's no point in finishing the joke.
Yeah, get the studio one, folks, if you want to hear what that was. It's amazing how that will just, it ruins, it makes something not funny. Stopping in the middle of it like that.
It's just incredible. But so then Rebecca walks up to them, and this is, I think, part of the prophecy, or part of, her, this is obviously her destiny, fulfilled, is that she is able to unite the squabbling princesses and tell them that they've got better things to do. And she walks up to them and yells out, "Stop, please just stop. My goodness, princesses, what are you doing?" Tears were rolling down Rebecca's cheeks. At that moment, Rebecca was starting to lose respect for all three princesses. It was at the moment that she had become a broken shell of a girl.
Yeah.
Her dreams.
William did talk about how, big pieces of garbage as they were for 3 pages uninterrupted. So the lack of respect, you can understand where it's coming from.
She was beginning to, though. Yeah.
And the tears, probably started during speech 1 and he just didn't notice.
Yeah, they could be. All right. Where are we? Because, again, I was skipping back and forth between the books.
They reunite. She says that, we've got to work together. If we're going to destroy the dragon Vorultra, we need to all shoot 4 special arrows into the dragon at the exact same time. So we have a lot of practicing to do. And then we get this, it says the harvest celebration did not continue. The inhabitants of the land of Antigua had more pressing matters on their mind, which, again, they are. The more pressing matter is starting to get ready to prepare for the battle.
Yes. Okay, so this is the training montage, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is not in the book as well.
Wow. Man, they just punted the whole thing.
Yeah.
The nasty fox, I assume, was in the book.
Oh, yes. Please.
It's on the cover.
Tent pole of the book.
He's smoking a cigarette outside of elementary school and, trying to, sell baby powder that he says is drugs to the 7th graders.
Honey, we got to hack some words out of this. Should I get rid of Gordal or the fox? You touch either of those, I swear to God, I will cut you.
A nasty fox is the child you never gave me.
Okay. I'll cut the training montage. Jeez, calm down.
Yeah, it says the 3 of them had to spend extra time teaching Rebecca how to shoot the arrows because she knew nothing about such things. So it gets a little flowery with that description. And we have had bicycles, we've had holograms, but then this has thrown a curveball at us. They say that Rebecca has never touched a sword. She says, "I've never seen one before." Well, I have seen them on television, but not in real life. Princess Alexandra asked, "You've seen them on a what? You've seen them on a television? What is a television?" Rebecca looked at her strangely and said, "Never mind." So they that's the one thing that they are befuddled by here.
Yeah, it goes into the territory of Star Trek, like, perhaps if I kiss you now. What is kiss? What is television?
You've seen holograms kiss, right? But yeah, you don't have TV because you learned the expression "my bad" pretty well. So That seems to be prevalent throughout the country.
Oh, I'm sorry. You grew up in Arabia, so you didn't have TVs.
What?
So that goes into an argument between the wizard apprentices. You always have to have the parallel. And this is one, I can't imagine this is Jonathan being furious with William.
Yes.
I cannot imagine keeping your rage up for this long.
Okay. But
because it's a paragraph.
Like nothing more than unchecked, undeserved rage.
So I can't imagine. I'll go a little way trying to do it as Al Pacino.
Oh, nice.
Even then you'd stop me. Like I think we brought it up before that Pacino demands you write him an angry yelling speech in every movie.
Okay.
So they always stick one in if there wasn't one in there before.
Oh, that's delightful.
The wizard apprentice Jonathan became furious with William. He yelled out, "You think you know everything, don't you, William? You think that I'm stupid and that you're a smart one, don't you? You expect me and everyone else to listen to everything that you have to say. Well, let me explain something to you, William. You don't know everything. You think that you are the better wizard. Well, you're not. I'm a better wizard than you will ever be. I don't care what the wizard Vlandorf says. I have just as much talent as you do. I deserve to replace the magic wizard with the top wizard. I promise you, I will put my magic up against yours every day. My magic is just as good as yours, if not better. Do you care to test my theory out right now?" And that's
wow, bravo. That's
his rage.
The King Aurthorr tucks his head in. Hey, is Gordal Gorilla in here? What is all that grunting and posturing? Yeah, that keeping the rage up when it's not really earned by someone doing something awful is a very hard thing to maintain.
Especially at like sentence 3, the person would narrow their eyes and sort of, they're not feeling threatened at all. They'd just be staring at you, going like shaking their head, going, what is happening? Looking around, doing double takes to people. Like, what's going on?
Does he want me to respond? I mean, is this this is so unnatural. And this is coming from me, William, who just talked to 3 girls for a page interrupted, and I find this unnatural.
I find that you went on too long.
But he proposes just out of the blue here. He says, after that speech, William says, "What are you talking about, Jonathan?" Jonathan said, "A series of challenges. That's what I'm talking about." William said, "Fine, I accept all your challenges." You do? Because I've got some really weird ones planned. Like, I was going to have us like whip them out and measure. Like, that's like, I was going to have like who can eat the most. We're going to grill up Bubo the baby gorilla and see how much baby gorilla we can eat. Like, I've got some sick challenges, man.
I bought some 1,000-year-old eggs, and we're going to just see who stops
first. We're going to
snort them. Weird. Yeah, that's also not in the book.
Huh.
Very curious. I don't know. If anyone has any theories, please let me know.
The one other thing that Jonathan yelled when he was getting angry was, for the most part, he's angry at William here, but he does get in a good diss at Brandon. He says, Brandon's a hack. He says his tricks and spells never work. So they are doing a lot of tricks. They're just doing, they're pulling nasty foxes out of hats and stuff. But he says, Brandon needs to leave the school of Vlandorf and learn to be a carpenter or something. So it's
wow.
Yeah, that's the lowest blow you can deliver to a wizard apprentice.
But doing tricks, so are they doing more than just shooting electrical charges from their wands, which seems to be the only thing the master wizards can do.
Right.
I guess except fly on their wands.
Sure, yeah, that's master turf. But yeah, everyone else seems to have a pretty good grasp of things. They turn each other into frogs and cats and stuff. They talk to houses.
Right.
But he says, the way that this chapter ends is that he says, like, hey, like, they're all preparing for this battle they're eventually going to get to, in theory. If this book ends without them doing the battle and that's part 1, like,
please.
Amazing. Yeah, tremendous. We'll have to write letters to them asking them to finish the book. But they say the wizards are going to be pissed if they catch us wizard battling or wizard challenging. So we've just got to tell them that we're just practicing as we do this to be able to destroy Gwendeviere. So it's just this convoluted. If they see us doing a challenge where we're eating 1,000-year-old eggs, we got to tell them that's how we're practicing to destroy the wizard.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so they're going to do this challenge. Are people going to watch this challenge?
I mean, they made the princesses practice their instruments at the banquet, so I have to imagine they're going to gather some mini-wads and elves and centaurs and crap around them.
All right, so just to satisfy curiosity, the end of this chapter is a little bit of the training montage. They hit their target perfectly. They looked at each other and smiled. They knew at that moment they were ready to destroy Voltrar.
Yeah.
Chapter end. And then chapter 12, when the great wizard Vlandor first arrived into his tent.
Yeah.
So the whole thing was gone.
Oh, wow. Well, they're dialing back on the angry young men here. I don't know. Maybe they figured they were not being super subtle before, so they wanted to say this is a surprise.
And then it says so this is, I'm skipping ahead, but only one paragraph, I swear, into chapter 12. The wizard apprentice Jonathan paused in the entranceway and stared wickedly at the wizard Vlandor. He thought to himself, I have to be clever in making the old wizard believe that this is just practice for the impending battle and not a challenge.
Wow.
So there you go.
Okay. So they cut that part and then they refer to it later.
Yes.
Well, I can't implore you don't have to put down the damn hardcover book because it's just going to confuse things as we keep going.
I realize that now. In the first few chapters, it didn't have. There were just curious little differences.
Right.
Now it's gigantic sections.
You're just disobeying the canon, is all. I mean, so
no, I read the canon. I'm keeping track of it. Is all.
All right.
It does no one any good.
Well, we've got wizard challenges to look forward to. A theoretical dragon shooting arrows into. Fox torture,
boar fights,
wild boars. Yes, eagle men who are 17 but about to turn 18.
Yes.
Which I guess is that Antigua has the same laws regarding legal adult status as America does in terms of its eagle men.
In terms of Britain, England, and Wales, I don't know.
So we've got a lot to look forward to. But as I said before, we have some great emails, so we really should read them. Once again, a lot of these emails come from our Patreon supporters. That's at patreon.com/372pages. Send us an email over there on Patreon, and we'll probably read it. Probably. We don't read them all, but we got some good ones this week. This one's from Patrick. Turns out that the island named Antigua in the Caribbean got its name from Christopher Columbus after a famous icon of the Virgin Mary in the Seville Cathedral in Seville, Spain. It all ties together.
Whoa, yeah. Seville.
Yeah. Yeah, disgusting. Yeah, and that's coming from you, who's like had a negative 10-degree day recently, and you still would not trade that for the heat of Seville.
Oh, give me below zero any day.
Jay writes in. He says, the unclosed quote from episode 2 has finally closed. Do you remember that?
Yes, I certainly do.
He says the quote that didn't have a closing quotation mark has finally closed at the end of the princess gasped at what he saw. So he sent us pictures. It was, she said thank you and smelled the rose. The other girls with her blushed and started giggling. That was a quote there. And then we get the sorceress's goblin let Princess Sasha go. Princess Sasha jumped back. The princess gasped at what she saw, quotation mark. So it spanned
the entire thing was a quote.
Multiple chapters, multiple podcast episodes. Brian wrote in and said that Brian is, by the way, we forgot to address this, and he's not yet sent us in an example of it. We sent Brian a gong because Brian at the end of episode 2, I believe, said that he wanted to play a gong at every exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And then he played us a really crappy gong. We sent him a gong. It turns out he didn't even have a gong. He was like banging on a pot or something.
Yeah, so, I felt that gong was so inferior. He was just, yeah.
So we need to hear the good gong. We need to hear some examples of that. But Brian wrote in from the book I wrote back in the day of bad Wikipedia writing, citation needed. There was an example about the Country Bear Christmas special. It said, at Disney World, the Christmas special ran until 2005 due to copyrights with some of the songs in the show, like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. But it is rumored to return in the future. And that ended with an exclamation mark and comments, I don't know, either written by me or Josh Frulinger. You've just encountered the most depressing exclamation point in the history of the English language. So that's probably due for an edit.
Little did you know. Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
Here we get to our art challenges. And so these are from our listeners. This first one is from Pat. Pat submitted a map of Antigua to us. So I just sent it to you. You can take a look at that.
Oh, fantastic.
It's the first of 3 maps we've gotten. And it's pretty spectacular.
How do you think that they line up?
Well, I'll send them to you. The next one is from Jay. And Jay had some trouble. Jay sent us, I believe, 7 different revisions of this map. Various emails. He said, I forgot about the waters of Antigua with King Harnaqua. Then he said, oh, they refer to them as provinces, not kingdoms. Then he said, of course it wasn't until this reading they specified that the waters are adjacent to the westernmost province. So Jay was just, at his computer, revising this map. his wife is being like, please come to bed, honey. I am revising the maps of the western waters of Antigua. Oh, Daddy.
Oh, this is really good. Yeah.
So the first one was from Pat. This is from Jay's.
Wow. Yeah. No, this is way better than I thought. I was imagining just like, I just want a Tolkien map.
Yeah.
But this is.
And then this is good. This one is from Jennifer. Is the last one I'm going to send you. They're all very impressive. We will of course post them all in the notes. But well done to everyone who did it.
Yeah, these are good.
Jennifer also wrote in to say that the Santa Monica Smize Cream store has permanently closed. It's devastating. She did say that the hours listed were open Saturday 3 to 4 p.m. and that was the only time they were open. So it probably was hard to make your rent doing that. But hopefully it's still able to buy on mail order.
All right. Wow. I'm just looking at the map. All the knights listed. Thank you so very much. Wow.
They're the Western Knights. Sir Willoughby Starr, the most respected. So yeah, thanks to everyone who did that. I'm sure it took a lot of effort. It clearly did on Jay's part. This email is from Ethan. He said, I just became a Patreon supporter today, so I'm hoping this bumps my chances of getting this email read. Timothy's abrupt appearance with no introduction in Antigua makes me suspect that. So we get a lot of like highfalutin comparisons, 100 Years of Solitude comparisons, Infinite Jest comparisons. He says that this reminds me, suspect that he's a memory parasite from Rick and Morty, Season 2, Episode 4, Total Recall, where the Smith family is attacked by memory parasites who infiltrate your world by implementing false memories, making you believe you've known them in your entire life, like an uncle, a family butler, or a talking refrigerator. Unfortunately, after the last 372 episode, this theory was squashed with him getting friend-zoned by the princess, as the flaw of the parasites was that they've never implemented bad memories into their hosts. Unless she gets her sick kicks from shooting young boys into Alpha the Saddle, it probably disproves this theory. So, all right. I mean, I'm up for and all insane theories here.
Sure.
I mean, maybe William, based on his talking there, that could have been he could have been explaining Rick and Morty theories if he got to do a fourth deep dive into a princess's psyche.
I have a quick theory.
Yeah.
It'll take just a second. Bubo the gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Our own Riff Track's own Kevin Murphy on our show Mystery Science Theater played Bobo the gorilla.
Wow. I mean, that would have been another if that was Bobo, and then we had King Thomasson. You start to wonder where they had their cameras.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe we can get Kevin to voice the gorilla, since there is a prominent gorilla here. Here's Dan. This is some mind-blowing stuff here. He says, after Connor asked for the lost work referenced in the end of Antigua and on some of the archived websites of Denise and Larry, I began a search in earnest for not only The Teenage Archaeologist, that was the other book they said they wrote, The Teenage Archaeologist and the Land of the Mopek, but other works, by the Ellises. So a user named Gritmonger on the 372 Discord went through the LLC registries of Denise and Larry in Florida and discovered 2 additional titles. So in addition to the Land of the Mopek, he discovered Chantico in the Land of the Aztecs, which is available. And there's also a book called, all caps, Sex, with a cheater, abuser, addict, both written under the names D Pepper Lois. And he says,
what?
I was skeptical that both of these books were actually the writings of Denise, but there are simply too many Denise/Larry idiosyncrasies that appear in the books to dismiss. I believe beyond a shadow of a doubt that Denise Brown Ellis took creative control over the Teen Archaeologist series after the first was published, and then heavily revised part 2 of the Teen Archaeologist franchise and published it under her new pen name of D. Pepper Lois, with significantly more violence and sex than what I see appeared in the first one.
But wait, what was the title of the last one?
Sex with a cheater, abuser, addict. So we'll get to that. We'll get to that. He has some amazing things about the universe of these books. So this is from their first book, which is out of print. There's a preview on Google Books that you can see, but as far as we can tell, it does not exist anywhere. Notably, the main character is a teenager named Rebecca. Teenagers quip sarcastically at each other in the style of the Sorceress's Black Cat, and Rebecca also has a brother named Billy.
Oh my God!
And they're from England, but not Britain or Wales. So they travel to an underground civilization in Africa, They face off against horrible monsters, including a giant gorilla, but he can't figure out anything more. So that was from 2010. Then we get Chantico in the Land of the Aztecs, which he says is the most entertaining work of the 3 I read through. It does involve teen archaeologists. It also features graphic violence, and is what I believe is an attempt for Denise to repurpose the first drafts of what was meant to be the Teenage Archaeologist Part 2 for a more adult audience. I began this book skeptical of whether or not it was Denise and Larry, but after one chapter, I was certain it was them, or just Denise. Despite being slightly edgier, it features centaurs, warriors not afraid to defend their life, dragons, the land of the dead, and a sorceress who has pet snakes and black panthers.
Oh my God.
And then it brings us to sex with a cheater, abuser addict. Although this book was certainly written by Denise, it brings me very little joy and casts a dark shadow over her whole body of work. Denise's trademark writing tics are present throughout. Think Irene Isley, written in the style of Antigua. There are several humorous moments, but after reading it through in an afternoon, I found myself exhausted and unamused. Characters quipping sarcastically at one another does not make grim depictions of torture any more bearable. So he offers it up to us if we want it as an artifact of our collection. But
holy cow.
Yeah, so the tangled web grows even deeper.
So that's a work of fiction?
That's what it says. I mean, it's full of several anecdotes with different women detailing their abuse at the hands of cartoonishly evil husbands and boyfriends.
Oh my!
So I mean,
no!
Yeah, so it sounds awful, but it also sounds, awful.
Oh no!
So I think he included some excerpts. We don't have enough time to get into them, but I'll forward them to you. We can see how it sounds.
Wow!
So yeah, who knows what happens? Who knows what? Oh
dear!
Why Pepper
Our Denise and Larry depiction.
Exactly. Which is parody and satire.
Parody satire.
But yeah, who knows? I think ours might have been a little too positive.
I think so.
And then this one, you're going to appreciate this one. This is from Callum. He says, I hope this email finds you well, Connor and Mikhail. He spelled our names crazily. He had his Ellis spell checker switched on. Attached to my email, you will find a super rare colorized image depicting one of the Wizards of Antigua in mid-flight. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to send it to you right now.
Okay.
And
here it comes.
He says,
it's
loading
loading
up.
up.
To get your reaction in real time.
Okay, perfect.
So it is Charles Nelson Riley's character from Lidsville, previously mentioned on here, riding a magic wand like it is a surfboard. It is quite disturbing. It probably belongs on a T-shirt. I assume he granted us all license to reuse it there, and that's my assumption. He works in the film industry in New Zealand, has spent many a road trip traveling between productions, listening to 372. I analyze movies in the same way, and you had me hooked at Let's Expose Ready Player One. So keep up the good work and stay critical. So yeah, he has the wizard Thrandur Fur flying across the battle on his wand.
If you do you have it up there still? Yeah. Just kind of zoom in on the disturbing amount of detail around Charles Nelson Riley's teeth and mouth and nose.
Yeah, it is. He's got full teeth. And the makeup knot around the eyes is very nice there.
Yeah, this is very good.
All right, Lidsville fan art in the year 2022. Who'd have thought?
Yeah.
All right, let's wrap it up with some dumb sentences. Janelle submitted, Gordal, have you been up in the trees monkeying around with all those monkeys? Patrick submitted, what is a television? Justin submitted, this is part of the entertainment. Next, the men took the skewers and pushed them down their mouth and put the fire flames out with their mouths. So again, if you didn't know what they were getting at, you'd find that very confusing. Mike submitted, no one will rule my kingdom or my people. And he says, I think he means no one else will rule them. As the first person possessive pronouns demonstrate, they're not fighting to preserve democracy here. Mark submitted, they brought in monkeys on bicycles and performing lions and suggested they amend the title to be Antigua, the land of fairies, wizards, heroes, and bicycles. Ben submitted, she whispered with great concern, father. She was concerned for her father. This is from when the princess decided to fight the young boys. Colin and John both submitted, you could actually hear the banging of their sticks as they came in contact with each other, which is traditionally how sound works.
That was my dumb sentence.
Wow,
so
nice.
That was burned.
Wow,
yeah,
very well done.
Nice.
We have Jennifer submitting, when looking through the crystal ball, Gwendeviere saw nothing but smoke, but after the smoke cleared, she could see clearly, which we didn't really touch on that aspect of it because she was looking at a gorilla, but that's a
Yes.
very good way to describe it. Chap submitted, Gordal asked sarcastically, were you expecting another gorilla? Brad submitted, he just plain had a very bad attitude, obviously talking about the nasty fox. I hope the fox comes back.
Oh, please.
Jay submitted the gorilla dropped his banana, which is he imagined Glendra spitting out her coffee as well when the girl shows up at her house. Amanda submitted, it is going to take every man, king, wizard, princess, knight, fairy, pixie, gnome, centaur, wizard, apprentice, and mini-wad in all the provinces in Antigua to defeat the sorceress and the blue dragon of Oraltrar.
Wow.
And she was just amazed. The omissions and overlaps that the men and kings are sorted out. The kings don't consider they consider themselves above or distinct from the men. Kings and princesses, but no queens. No females apart from the princesses for that matter. No elves. And then wizard apprentices, got to make sure to point out that you are not the same as the wizards.
Yeah, I wondered about the nomenclature there with the human children and stuff. Like, presumably the kings, queens, and their subjects and everything are humans, right?
Yeah, just the same way as the men in Lord of the Rings, right?
Yeah, and so it's weird then when like the gorilla goes, "Where are you going, human child?"
Right. Yes.
Like, well, you're just, I swim in that sea. I don't know why I had to point out that you were human.
Right. I guess if you have sentient creatures and other races that are building civilizations and communicating, you might not be the default. It might not be a human-centric world, even though the kings obviously are.
Right. Strange.
Harris submitted, King Aurthorr invited the three gorillas and Rebecca to spend the evening in his tent.
I hope she doesn't have one of her fits in there.
Yeah, being in a strange area, she might woke up and be disoriented. I submitted a very similar sentence to Amanda's, but I'm going to read it to you. And it's a typo, and it's nitpicky to do this, but it makes it much funnier. The head knights of King Aurthor's army led King Aurthorr, King Arlexjandrio, King Thomasson, Queen Lindrianda, Queen Gwendith, Queen Eleonora, the great wizards, the apprentice wizards, the princesses, Timothy and his parents, several warriors, centaurs, several mini-wads, several gnomes and elves, and all the king's advisors to the royal conference chamber. And they just put a comma in between Queen Gwendith, so it appears that the band Queen is also being led out of the hall by King Aurthorr there. So that made me happy to envision them. They could be singing "I Want to Ride My Bicycle" in celebration of the fine abundance of bicycles in the land of Antigua.
He's mentioning the things that monkeys constantly use. We love that.
There we have it. Well, I think that does it for us.
Yeah, that does it. We come exhausted to the end of those 2 chapters.
Yeah, exactly. It's by far a record, I think, here. We are exhausted as Gordal the gorilla after merely reading 2 chapters. I think we maybe need to do some exercise or something.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. Throw a fit, run around in circles. You'll feel better after that.
Go and feed a baby gorilla cow's milk this week. You really knocked it out of the park with the maps. Now we're issuing you this challenge.
Thanks, everyone. This is 372 pages. So long.
Bye.